And I do remember I got so scared, I spent the night with a friend, and I woke up around 4 a.m. and I did see a man in like a pinstripe suit standing in her room. I did. So I left. In the middle of the night, and I went back to my room because I felt safe. And
may I ask if this man, I mean, his form, like you could tell he was wearing a suit, but was the rest of him like shadow-like or no? Really?
Honestly, it looked like a man coming out of a black and white movie.
Colleges and schools aren't just populated with bright-eyed students. You could also find yourself face-to-face with a whipsy apparition. Some have spooky stories of students' pasts. Some were built upon old orphanages, while others can be built in a city rich with history and even haunted history. But all have one thing in common. All will give you the chills. On today's episode, we continue with part 2 of Is Our Job Haunted by the Ghost of Charlie Chaplin? In part 2 of this haunting yet crazy tale, we find out that it's just more than Charlie Chaplin that's visiting the grounds of our school. Join us on our sit-down as we talk with some of these students to find out who or what is going bump in the night, and who is the little girl that a lot of the girls have been seeing in room 101. How have some of the stories from our first part of Is Our Job Haunted episode correlate with this one? And who is the shadow figure, the new shadow figure of the cowboy that a lot of the students have been seeing on campus? And you definitely don't want to miss some of the possible EVPs that I collected during our walkthrough in room 101. So pack your backpack with some sage, some selenite, and possibly some holy water, because this is part 2 of Is Our Job Haunted by Charlie Chaplin. So, if you've landed here at Hollyweird Paranormal, it's clear you're a fan of mystery, mayhem, and the unexplained in Hollywood true crime. I'm Dr. Shiloh, a former cop.
And I'm Dr. Scott, a former Hollywood entertainment professional. We're now both forensic psychologists working in Southern California.
Are you fascinated by the internal processes of criminals? Do you wonder, how could they do that?
In each episode of our podcast, LA Not So Confidential, we dissect the nexus where true crime, forensic psychology, and entertainment meet.
We'll serve up fascinating cases viewed through the lens of human behavior, delivered with our signature gallows humor.
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play at LA Not So Confidential. We're ready for download and subscription. You can also follow us on Instagram at LA Not So Podcast and on Twitter at LA Not So Pod.
Come and join us for LA
Not So
Confidential. Hey guys.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
I always do. Because I also see dead people and living people.
And living dead listeners.
There you go.
And we've lost them in the first 6
Already.
seconds.
I know.
New
Apparently we're
record.
losing some. Apparently because our voices are annoying.
Mine is. In fairness, I actually agree with that. Mine is super annoying.
I do. There's a couple of reviews like her voice is annoying. My favorite one was Bryce's voice sounds like a 16-year-old girl from the Valley. I'm like,
hi. I live in the Valley.
That is the truth. Hello.
Also, please pause this podcast, go watch Do I Sound Gay, and then come back for me with your hate speech.
I saw that.
I love that documentary.
I saw that documentary. I thought it was really good and smart. I was like, that is such a great concept.
It's very good. I cried the whole time, obviously. Shocker. Mm-hmm. I cried everything. But it is very jarring because, yes, I sound gay. I don't know what to tell you. Or a 16-year-old girl from the Valley. Both apply. Yes.
But you're gay and you're proud.
Yes,
and you sound gay and you sound proud.
Yes, I do. Thank you. And I'm from the Valley and I'm proud. I love the Valley. So come for it.
I know.
We'll fight you.
We will.
We won't win, but we'll fight you.
We'll fight you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's fine.
We're totes ready. Well, guys, I'm sure you're tuning in for part 2
Yay.
of Is Our Job Haunted? Question mark. And just a forewarning, if you haven't listened to part 1, season 1, it's the episode 5 version of Is Our Job Haunted by Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
And there we had an interview with Katie McFarland,
Hi.
who was the, I
miss
know,
her.
we miss her so much too. I miss her energy, her responsibilities. She was so responsible.
Yeah.
Out of all the students there, she was the most responsible one. I was
Yeah.
like, come back. Please teach these kids how to like tie their shoe, pay bills,
Girl.
go to class. I know.
I love it.
Well, we had an interview with her, and
Yes.
you know, she had first-hand experiences of what she went through in the dormitories of the school. So we now know that the theater has some presences that come and go. We believe that they are related to Charlie Chaplin, but the biggest source, the biggest magnet, is the dormitories.
Yes. I
And-
have many notes. Tammy, can you tell them?
Oh yes,
I have my notes in crayon.
that you wrote in crayon.
I could not find a pen. So I have pages full of crayon notes like a child. But one of the things that I wrote that I want to talk about is the
least
energy that the dorms themselves bring. I have hearing, especially the second story.
Yes.
I was like, oh, it's this, which, you know,
Yeah.
that's just pure conjecture on my part, but I'm gonna conjure away.
Yes, you will, girl. So I had conducted several interviews with the current students who are second-year students, and they have no relation to Katie's class, who
Right.
were there, I want to say in 2017, 2018.
That seems right.
Yeah, 2017 to
'Cause I
2018.
I left in October of 2018, and they were still there
Yeah.
as RAs, I think.
They were, and I think they probably knew some of the students that
Sure.
I interviewed, or, you know, spoke to them in passing. So real quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to play a couple of the interviews with a couple of the students that live in the dormitories. And there's 2 girls, Bella and Rissa, that we'll talk about, or we'll listen to their interviews. So Bella is living in dorm room 101 with Rissa, and we will learn that Rissa has some gifts, actually.
Yes.
She is very much like Katie's friend in the first episode, Peyton, where Peyton, you know, has abilities to see, feel, and even hear the dead.
Oof.
And Rissa had listened to part 1 of Is Our Job Haunted? And she was like, everything that they discussed, everything, all the stories parallel with what I'm going through, especially with Peyton. So we'll learn too that Rissa just learned after moving here to LA, after moving into the dorms, that these gifts have strengthened and definitely manifested because of the dormitories.
I had a similar experience when I moved to LA with the gay community, so I can relate. It really strengthened. It really developed when I moved to LA.
Yeah. You definitely had your glow up, girl.
I did. I think I'm sensing.
I think everybody has a glow up. God damn it, I'm blonde
Yeah.
right now, and I
I
went
love
from.
it. It's so
thank
cute.
you.
And I was clocking those nails, girl. Those are cute.
Look at these nails. I got Kardashian nails going
They
on.
do.
I
They're
dyed,
excellent.
I bleached my hair John Bonet blonde.
It's great.
So there we go. That's
I
so bad to say,
always
but
want to dye my hair, but it's kind of become a stereotype for gay men who are going through like a midlife crisis to like dye their hair. And if they are listening to this, you know who you are because you know it's true. Come for me. But anytime I see like a gay around my age dye their hair like gray or blonde, I'm like, oh girl, go to therapy.
they're gonna come for you, Bryce.
They are.
With bleach and toner.
Come for my dark brunette hair.
There
I
you
don't
go.
care. That's right. Chestnut brown.
They'll definitely come at you with that, girl. Well, guys, so what we're going to do real quickly is listen to Bella's story, my interview with Bella. So Bella lives in 101 with Rissa. And Bella is more of the, I want to say she's not really a skeptic, but she's just very closed off and very, scared of what is there. She knows that something's there in the dormitories, and she knows that it does mess around with all of them, that she doesn't want to believe it. So she blocks it off. Also, as a little preface too, before doing the interviews, I was doing a lot of research.
That was so crazy.
I was doing even more research on the property because the one story you guys will hear is the child spirit story.
I got goosebumps when I was listening to come record
Yeah.
this. I was just like, oh God, that's so creepy.
So the child, the little girl, is something that parallels with Peyton and Katie.
Yes.
I was trying to research on newspapers.com and doing a lot of archive work. Any child murders that happened between 1895 to even as early as 1967. And there were a couple of cases that came about, but far away from where our school is located. So I'll bring up one of the cases that I came across with Rissa. And it was a case where a child was ran over off of Hollywood and Pico.
Oh, wow.
And this was a case, I want to say it was back in the 1930s, of a little boy, I think between the ages of 3 and 6, he got ran over. So I don't know if maybe, that could be an energy that's coming to visit the dormitories. But doing a lot of research in regards to this area of Hollywood, and like we said before in many of our episodes, it's just layers and layers.
Yes.
And even more, layers of just history and violence and grief at the same time.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and listen to Bella's interview, and then we'll do a little postmortem after that interview. What do you say, Bryce?
Love it.
All right, here we go, guys. So here's Bella.
Hey guys, I work with Tammy in the costume shop at the academy, and I live in the dorms. My roommate has been experiencing some weird stuff, but I haven't. I don't know why. I've heard some stuff at night, but I usually just think that it's like people walking around in the room. I just don't.
What is it that you hear at night?
Door closings, like
Opening
and shutting. But it's not like, when you open the door, you actually have like a second to get through the door.
Yeah.
It's like opening close.
Oh.
But I don't really like thinking about it, so I'm just like, it's nothing. Everything's fine. And then obviously I've heard my 2 roommates on separate occasions just like the kettle switching on and off.
This is a story that I've heard that has been circulating between the both of them, and they told me about this kettle that turns on and off and it'll start brewing water or heating water out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so when they experienced it, they called me into the room, and both times when I walked into the kitchen, it just went off. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. It's weird.
Do you believe in the paranormal? Like, do you believe that there are beings and entities or energies out there?
I do. I wouldn't say I ignore them, but I don't like to acknowledge that they're actually there, because then it kind of freaks me out a little.
So you close yourself off pretty much. Like, it's there, but you're like, I'm not going to deal with it.
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
Not
yeah.
bothering them.
And you even told me at one point that one of the girls who has special gifts and sensitivities told you that you are very protected by guardian angels. Is that right?
Yes. So she told me that she sees 3 guardian angels, and it's like female. So I kind of know who it is, but I don't know.
Who do you think it is?
Like 2 of my grandmas, both of them are dead,
yeah.
and then my grandpa's sister, which she was my nanny when I was younger. She was just like my auntie. I just called her my auntie.
Maybe it's them also protecting you. Maybe you're that balance in that apartment, so when you come into a space that is chaotic, it stops. They're like, whoa, okay.
Well, I hope that,
It's Bella and her posse.
That'd be pretty cool if it was true. That'd be like, oh. Yeah.
But you've heard other stories too, not just within your room, but other stories that have circulated on different floors in different rooms. Is that right?
Yes. Actually, I heard when I lived on a 3rd floor, I lived in the 1st floor now, but when I lived in the 3rd floor, there was stories going around about a little girl.
Yes.
Just running in the hallways. And then, which was really creepy, I had a dream about a little girl.
No way.
I promise you.
How long ago was this?
When I lived, it was right before summer. So last year, right before summer.
Wow.
Right before they went on summer vacation. And remember I worked alone in the costume shop?
Yeah.
That whole
Bella
summer?
was covering for me. I had to take a much needed vacation. But that was another thing too. You had the apartment to yourself.
Yes.
And nothing happened.
No, not really. I just had the dream.
Oh, so something kind of did happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, in the dream, it was like a lucid dream, I think. I was sleeping in my bed, in the bed I was sleeping in. And in the dream, I can see the little girl bouncing up and down behind me, which is really creepy because I was sleeping and I could see myself in the dream and the little girl.
Oh.
It was creepy. And I was kind of freaked out by that, but you know.
Oh my goodness. You know, your roommate has explained to me that she has had some dreams like that too.
Really?
It's kind of like astral projection where you can see yourself in your dream. You're seeing yourself
Yes.
in kind of like real time sleeping, and then you can see whatever's around you apparently. That is crazy. So you kind of had experienced something.
Yeah.
But that's nothing compared to what other people had experienced. Now, there is a talk of a little girl, but have you ever heard of anything else that was a little more in opposition of that entity, a little more sinister, I guess you can say? I know that there's been sightings of the Shadow Man. Or have you heard anything in regards to that?
Actually, no. I heard last year about someone's room had the Shadow Man with a hat on.
Yeah.
And I saw the picture.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I didn't experience him.
Yeah.
Not yet, maybe.
Can you tell me one last question? Can you tell me, like, how long was it after you guys moved in that your class started experiencing things in the dorms?
Oh, not that long.
Really? Like a month,
Yeah.
you think, or like a week?
Maybe a month, cause I don't really hear it, the talk, but I know it was, cause I lived in apartment 312, no 213 first, and there I didn't experience anything. But when I moved to the third floor, my roommates were like, "Yeah, there's definitely a ghost in here somewhere," and then obviously now in this room, so. Yep.
I'm going to be walking in your apartment just to kind of get a vibe of it.
Yeah, I hope they cleaned.
But I just want to kind of go in there and feel and see, so.
And also, what is interesting, we've been missing, like, stuff.
Marissa's been telling me that things have
Yeah.
been going missing, like jewelry and stuff.
Yeah, like jewelry or I don't know, like a plant went missing. But how? How is that possible? Because we're not thieves. And, like, nobody came into the room.
And you guys keep everything locked,
Yeah.
right? In your places, right?
Yeah. It's weird.
There have been cases where things, like, in certain houses and dwellings where things would just go missing. I think it was the hotel that I stayed in. It was the Glen Tavern Inn, where they had children apparitions that would play. And according to some of the guests and even the staff, that they would they would have complaints of guests stating, "Oh, my rings are gone, my jewelry's gone." And during a renovation, they found the jewelry in, like, the air vents.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We should check our air vents.
Yeah,
then.
so maybe it's a little girl possibly taking your stuff, because it's just the jewelry, right? It's and a plant.
Yep.
But thank you so much, Bella, for sitting down with me and telling us your side of the story and your beliefs and what you feel.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah. But I guess let's end it with this. Like, do you think that there is something in the dormitories?
I think there's many things.
And we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Whew.
Girl.
That was a little heavy.
Can I just start out with saying that I love her right away? She's just like, "Oh, no. I'm, like, in full denial."
Yeah.
Just like, no. That's not happening. I don't want to believe that. Like, my girl. Here for that. Live that journey.
You are my spirit animal.
100%. I was
Yes.
just like, yes. I think I even wrote that at some point. Just like,
She is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
I vibe with her. I'll mess with her. Yes.
but then still saying, like, I love that, as someone who I would consider myself a much more closed off, I still respect and, like, empathize with her being like, when you asked her, like, well, do you believe in, like, spirits and the afterlife and all that, she still was like, yes, I definitely do, but I just can't, like, experience it
Yes.
now. I'm like, I respect that. Like, me too, girl. Like,
There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I love listening to the ghost stories. I'm here for the ghost stories, Tammy, but I can never do what you and other people do. I can't go and investigate. I don't want to experience it, but I want to hear about it.
Right.
But I don't want to experience it.
yeah, and I think we all have to find our own, like, depth in the pool.
Yeah, that's that pool that I've mentioned in the Richard Ramirez case where, all of
Yes.
us, there's some of us will just dip our toe into the black lagoon,
Yeah.
and then there's some of us will dip our legs into it, and there's people like me where I just synchronized swim in the deep end because I'm all about that life. So
And I have water wings
yes.
on the side with a pool float.
Bryce is in his like little shorts and his floaties.
So cute.
And his little inner tube.
Yeah.
So he's just like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine
good,
here
thank
in
you.
the 2 feet end. Thank you.
Dare I say in the shallows?
Yeah, the shallows.
Thanks, Gaga.
exactly. But what I really appreciate about her story is that she admitted that, okay, what she had gone through was something kind of paranormal.
Yeah.
Because, like, I didn't know that she had that dream until I interviewed her.
That dream really creeped me out. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. And I know that people have had similar dreams like that in different cases where it's kind of like this sense of astral projection where you can see yourself asleep. You're kind of feel like you're in real time, but then there's something around you. And that's what I was mentioning to her. I'm like, I think you're in that state of your REM where you're just like, I'm half awake, half asleep, but then again, I'm seeing things that.
Now, what would you say is, in your opinion, the difference between like a lucid dream, which she also kind of mentioned, or more of an astral projection, which I think Risa kind of talked about a little bit more?
Well, I think with lucid dreaming is when you're still aware that you're dreaming,
Okay.
and you can wake up and still remember what you dreamt. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong with
Yeah.
that. That's just from what I gathered. And when people astral project in comparison to lucid dreaming, is that they know that they're dreaming and they're having an out of body experience.
Terrifying.
And it's kind of like you're dreaming and know that you're dreaming, but you're around your dream in real time. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, also hearing her explain it, like where she's seeing herself and she's like above.
Yeah.
She'd see like the man standing behind her or the girl jumping behind her.
Yeah.
That was very intense.
I feel like she's in real time seeing what other people and ourselves can't see with the naked eye, and with astral projection too in other cases. For example, there have been cases and stories where people have said, oh, I remember I was reading a book in the living room. It's 9:00 at night, and all of a sudden I look up and I could see and hear my dad. But my dad is, in this other state and he's asleep. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those are other forms of astral projection too.
So it can be not necessarily someone who's like passed.
It's described as an intentional out-of-body experience, or OBE, that assumes the existence of a soul or conscience called astral body that is separate from the physical body, like I said, and capable of traveling outside.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I mean, even my husband and I had this wonderful discussion last night about the paranormal and about our minds. That our minds are just like the most powerful things.
Yes.
It's the scariest thing and the most mysterious thing, and it could do wonders.
Well, it's weird because my only real experience with astral projection is through like Insidious, that movie franchise.
Oh,
so I have
yes.
always attached a very like dark connotation to it because
Yes.
of that franchise.
Well, it is.
So when she said it, I was like, "Oh my god!" And then, like as she was explaining, I was like, "Oh, it actually just sounds more like." I mean, whether it's because it was like localized or whatever, but I was like, "Oh, it just seems like she's just like watching herself." Or
Well, she woke up immediately, where people like to stay in that state of astral projection or OBE. And I know for sure and for a fact that it could be very dangerous to astral project, because it can also come up. You can also experience sleep paralysis.
oof, no, thank you.
And some very realistic and terrifying visuals too. There are things that have been said about astral projection where people have been able to astral project for such a long time that they bring something really bad back. And it's a bitch to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So it can be very dangerous, and it can be pretty scary, and it can like create sleep paralysis in individuals that really don't experience sleep paralysis, or it can actually worsen them. So that is something to really look into.
So I won't astral project to Chipotle. Got it. I will not bring back a bad burrito.
But I would say, I mean, like with lucid dreaming as well, I know that lucid dreaming is where like you are in a dream state. You are in a dream. Like, for example, if for some reason you're on a ginormous pink elephant going down Times Square in New York, that's a dream, obviously,
Right.
and you know it. But where astral projection is, it's just like you left your body and you can see your
so
body.
crazy.
I think that's the best way I could put it in short.
Yeah. Also,
So-
the other thing that lightly stuck out to me about either the spirit or possibly the poltergeist or whatever is in the room is kettle was making me laugh so hard. I was like, that ghost just needs caffeine. Like,
Water
let it
heater
get its
feeder.
caffeine. Like, when I come back as a ghost, I will need caffeine. Everyone leave your kettles alone so I can get coffee.
You're gonna come back as a Mr. Coffee Maker.
100%. Like,
or a Keurig. No.
Put that pot in my little Keurig cup. Yum.
Okay, there's young listeners, Bryce.
Oh God, I know, right? It's just like the one part I was laughing. That and the plant missing made me laugh so hard. I was like, this ghost is hilarious. Like, I need coffee and a plant. Like, get your self-care, ghost. Yes.
And where are you putting all this stuff? Where it's like he has this little cubicle inside the room that no one knows where it is.
Oh my God, I was freaking out
cubicle.
when you were talking about when they were doing the renovation and finding the jewelry in the air vent.
Yeah, so that was at the Glen Tavern Inn, and you can find that story in Craig Owens' book.
Hi, Craig.
Haunted by History. He does an elaborate story and research on the Glen Tavern Inn, which is really interesting. And in one of the stories too, like people have stated like things going missing, jewelry going missing, and then when they did the renovation, they found a lot of that in the air vents, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, because that's really an intention. Like if it was under a bed or like behind something, that's something maybe explainable. But an air vent, like the work it would take to get it, unscrew a vent and screw it back together, either if someone's very crafty.
Exactly.
Or else.
Or it could be spirit, or it could be someone who is just, what is it, a necromaniac or nympho?
Kleptomaniac.
Who's a klepto.
I was saying, because nympho is that's a different thing they're stealing. Hey-o.
Yeah, so who knows, you know?
I just want to know where that plant is.
Me too.
Bring back my plant.
Bring back my
That's
plant.
so good.
It needs to be water. Make sure you get it water 3 times a day.
Oh, God.
Now we're going to proceed with the interview with Rissa. So Rissa is a second year who I got to meet during a fitting.
Now they live together, is that what you had said?
They're roommates.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Rissa lives with Bella, and I know they live with 2 or 3 other girls. Because
now, is that who told Bella about the 3 spirits?
Yeah, so Rissa...
Interesting.
You'll learn that Rissa, within time of living in the dorms opened her up big time. And I think also the combination of the dorms and the city opened her up. And you'll learn, too, that this is something that has been passed down, you know, every other generation in her family.
Oh, wow.
So that is also something that takes into notice and into consideration that people who embody these gifts, this specific site, people who are mediums and psychics, like a lot of times it's something that runs in their family.
Wow.
And it jumps every other generation. So we'll learn from Rissa, like, her gift and how she has kind of, you know, honed in to control it and use it, and how it's kind of affected her, especially living in the dorms. So this is Rissa's tale right here.
Hello, my name is Rissa, and I am a student at the acting academy that Tammy teaches at. And I have a couple of experiences here at the dorms at our institution. So my very first semester of being here, I discovered that I basically had these abilities to sense the paranormal. And I do remember the night that I found out, it felt like there was a party of spirits in my room and I couldn't sleep. But specifically at the end of my first year, because I am currently in my second year, I was home alone. Everyone else had moved out, and I was getting ready to move out. And I heard this humming noise, as if there was like a woman in the room. And I called my friend, who also has abilities, and she was mentioning to me how there was a teenage girl in the room. And I also remember always staring in the back room, because it's a 2-bedroom, and I was in the side room. But the back room, whenever the lights were out, I always caught myself just staring in that room for no apparent reason. And there was also a lot of energies back there. And I do remember I got so scared, I spent the night with a friend, and I woke up around 4 a.m. and I did see a man in like a pinstripe suit standing in her room. I did. So I left I left in the middle of the night and I went back to my room because I felt safe. And
may I ask if this man, I mean, his form, like you could tell he was wearing a suit, but was the rest of him like shadow-like or no? Really?
Honestly, it looked like a man coming out of a black and white movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Because I told her, I didn't tell her why I left because I didn't want her to be scared. But the next day I just texted her and was like, oh, I just woke up and I didn't want to wake you up, so I just went back to my room. Yeah.
Actually, I saw a ghost, but you don't need to hear that.
So that happened.
Yeah.
And that same friend earlier this year when we moved in, she asked me to come by to check out her room because she felt like there was something there. And we felt like we found a little boy there because he's very attracted to her. And he's very sweet, very nice kid.
How old is he?
Honestly, he felt like he was like 3.
I'm going to tell you something that I just researched right now. But off of Pico and Hollywood, I just because I was trying to research the property here. But back in, I want to say it was 1923, a young boy at the age of 3 off of Pico in Hollywood was run down by a car.
Oh, no.
It was a young boy and his age was 3, and I just saw that. I just researched that 30 minutes before you came in.
Wow.
Something, I don't know why, something just told me to ask you about his age.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's him.
We call him Asher because we felt like he was actually belonging to another spirit. But we call him Asher, and he's fine with it. He's very playful. He likes to knock down bowls from the cabinets when people are sleeping.
Oh, he's precocious.
He is. And also, my friend and I were watching a ghost documentary, and they literally put on the screen, this is when things started getting weird, and all of a sudden a bag flew off of the table. And we were just like, oh, whatever, it's him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's in your friend's room. He's more connected. Why do you think he's connected to her?
She honestly has dealt with a lot emotionally, and I do feel like I'm a personal believer in spirit guides coming in and out of your life during times when you need it most. Absolutely. So most likely due to the fact that he's young and innocent and sweet and he's there, he feels like he can help her cheer up all the time.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, he's a really sweet kid.
Why get a dog? You get a ghost. Right?
And so that happened. And recently, I would say now it's probably within a month ago, maybe. So about the cowboy in my room. I was sleeping one night and I felt really well rested, but I woke up at like 1 a.m. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to close my eyes. So I closed my eyes, and basically I felt as if I was astral projecting into the living room. And there was this shadowy figure of this man with a cowboy hat and like a wheat straw in his mouth, and he tipped his hat at me.
Oh, he was nice.
Yeah, I wasn't scared of him. It was just very interesting.
That's so weird.
And then I woke up, and everything was cool. I was fine. I didn't feel anything. But then I remember I was talking with one of my roommates, and I walked by our bathroom really, really fast. And I saw a shadow standing in the bathroom door with his foot like propped up against it. And it was like the same guy.
The same cowboy?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like he was watching or something. And he wasn't scary. And honestly, he kind of felt like he was kind of like, during his time, a very attractive sexual being, in a way.
He's like, I'm protecting you, ladies. I'm gonna Patrick Swayze this apartment. Just wait, you see.
That's just how he felt.
Really? Do you feel like he's more? You feel like he's watching over you guys?
In a way, I feel like he's very protective over women, specifically.
That's so like a true cowboy.
Yeah.
We had interviewed Katie a couple years ago, who was a former RA of the dormitory. She had a very scary and different experience compared to you guys.
Yeah,
with
I heard about that.
With the shadow man. So I'm wondering, have you ever made contact with a more malicious apparition or being there that's in relation to what she described? Or do you feel like it left with that class?
It had to have left. It had to have left due to the reason of me believing that I just don't feel like it's around anymore. The very first time I got into that apartment, I felt at home. I felt calm. The very first night I could sleep easily. And honestly, ever since I heard about that episode in particular, I was nervous that he would pop up. But he's not around. For some reason, now that I'm talking about him, I'm actually getting this feeling of he's not welcomed anymore.
That's so great. I wonder if someone did something in that building to protect it or block him. Because if you heard, there was a student named Jeff, and he, according to him, this was a being that was attached to him since his childhood. And he tried to get it removed by a psychic, or I don't know if the psychic got rid of him, or I don't know if someone there with your same abilities was able to do something. But I mean, I haven't heard anything in regards to anything malicious.
Yeah. Malicious wise, no. However, there are very strong energies that will make you feel very intimidated. I will say that.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's the land, or that building is a magnet in general, or is it just the area, and it's just because there's so many students in that building, it's just attracting all these beings and entities?
Well, due to the fact that all of us are artists, I do believe that we all have some sort of abilities, and we do have the power to bring things. I do also believe that the building itself comes with its own entities. And also, we're in the heart of Hollywood, and it's insane.
We've mentioned that. I mean, in our first episode of Our Job is Haunted, we have the Roosevelt down the street. We have the Hollywood sign. We have the Legion Club. I mean, it's just like this trifecta. Oh, we have Hollywood Forever, literally 9 minutes away.
It's crazy out here.
It really is. It's like no matter where you go, there's something crazy. You've made contact with a few famous entities and people that have come through. Can you share?
Yes. I remember, this is going to sound very strange, but it was one of these days when I was feeling very sick, and I woke up, and I usually eat breakfast, but I didn't feel like eating breakfast on this day. And so I waited a while. I was fine. I was in a great mood. And for some reason, I kept saying, I feel like I'm pregnant. And my back was hurting, and I kept burping a lot. And so I went to class, and one of my friends was eating sushi. And it's the same kind of sushi that I usually get. And so I literally just took one bite, and I was like, okay, I think I'm all right. So I ate one. And literally 10 seconds later, I threw it up in the trash can.
Oh, wow.
And so I texted my mom, and basically she was like, that's really weird. You're not pregnant. And I'm like, no, I'm definitely not pregnant. And so I talked to two of my friends who knew I have this gift right off the bat, because in the beginning it was very scary for not just me, a lot of people, but mainly me. And so we were like, okay, let's just figure out what's going on. So we turned on some nice calm music and put out positive energy, and all of a sudden I was like, I have someone's baby. And they were like, okay. And all of a sudden my other friend, who has abilities as well, she started to say, I sense a woman here and she wants the baby. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird. And so then I started getting a name, and I was like, Judy. And then I got, I can't remember right now, but I did get dates and times. And I also got the name of a former partner of hers who she just did not like.
Who was it?
I cannot specifically remember his name, but I will say he looked very sleek. he honestly, it could have honestly been the same guy that I saw that kind of looked like a pinstripe looking man.
Interesting.
He looked very sly and kind of like a gigolo. But now I think it's like Tommy or something like that, or that's like what people would call him. I'm not sure if that's his name. But basically, I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, my friend is like telling me all these things, and I'm like, Judy, and then we start getting this song in our heads, and I'm like, I don't know this song. And basically, all of a sudden, I mention a daughter. And basically, Judy herself says, oh, my daughter and I weren't on good terms. We weren't on good terms.
Wow. I think she had 2 daughters.
Yeah.
She had Liza, and I can't remember the name of the other one. Oh, that's so bad. But
yeah.
I wonder if it was her first or her second. But you didn't get the name of her daughter, huh?
No. But she was like, we're not on good terms. And then she mentioned how we were talking about the baby itself. And I was like, for some reason, I feel like I can't keep this baby. And I was like, I get a lot of like drug taking.
Interesting.
And then all of a sudden, I was like, Judy. And I just kept saying Judy and Judy. And I was like confused about basically where I was. It was as if, in a way, she was, I don't want to say taking over my body, but she was like sharing her energy with me and my other friend. And all of a sudden, she had this very polished demeanor, and she was talking about her past time in movies.
Right.
And we asked her, how did she die? And she just kept saying she didn't know. And
wow.
And I was like, but I feel like you're... And I was like, I don't want to call you a liar, but I feel like you're lying to me. So we were looking it up. We were looking up Judy Garland, and everything the spirit was saying when we were asking questions was matching up perfectly.
Wow.
And so I was like, I feel like you're not telling the truth with me. and she basically was very like poised, and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, Judy, come on now. Like, you died. You know you died.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that your life in Hollywood behind the scenes was horrible. And I'm so sorry about that. And she was like, I don't want to talk about it.
That sounds like her.
She was like, I don't want to talk about it. But we were then switching to things to talk about. And I specifically had this bracelet that I used to wear. I lost it, unfortunately. But it was very shiny. And it was known to be able to attract positive energies. And she was like, can I see your bracelet? And I was like, okay. So I put out my bracelet, and she commented on how shiny it was, how beautiful it was, and she wanted to keep it. And I was like, yeah, you can't keep it. Give it here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were making connections, and when she left, funny thing is our school had put these inspirational messages up, and her picture's on one of them. And I just couldn't stop staring at her. And I just couldn't stop looking and looking and looking. And then with a friend, one of the friends that was with me during this whole time, we went to the Chinese theater. And they have Dorothy's dress from The Wizard of Oz.
Right. And I think they even have her handprints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have everything
so
there.
I was there, and literally as I was staring at it, I felt funny. I felt like getting these chills around me. And I'm like, that's my dress. So I'm like, okay. She was around.
When spirits talk to you, is it just in your head? How do you hear it? Like, how does it come to you?
Basically, I like to tell people it's like telepathically communicating with a spirit.
Wow.
So their thoughts are put into my head, and I say them. I don't actually literally see anything. Like, I can see you and see that we're in a room. But I do get the feeling, I always say feeling, I get the feeling of what a person's height is, whether or not they're male or female, what they may be wearing, or what they experienced before they died. Especially if it has something to do with a medical issue, a certain part of my body will react the way it reacted to when they passed. And sometimes symbolism as like an animal or a toy, those usually pop up.
In my head, I'm like picturing, she's sitting in front of her and she's probably talking to her with her hands and everything, you know?
Yeah, I can usually also pick up on attitudes.
That's so
Attitudes
awesome.
are easy to pick up on, which is also why I was able to see the way she smiled, the way she laughed, the way she used her arms. And as a kid growing up, Judy Garland was like one of my tops. I would watch her all the time. So I was like, this is Judy Garland. I know this. So it was very interesting.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. It was fun.
I could tell like you're like it was a plus being here. You get to see the dead famous now.
Right. And it's
not the way you pictured it, but
no, and it's also interesting, and I researched it afterwards, and apparently she actually visits a lot of mediums in the Hollywood area, especially new ones.
That's so crazy. I wonder why.
I'm really not 100% sure. Whenever I asked her, she kind of felt like she didn't want to talk about it.
I'm interested in knowing about this child and why you had this child and she wanted it. I'm guessing she had a miscarriage at some point in her life.
If so, it had to be secret. I'm not sure if I've ever come up reading something about it.
Does she still visit you?
Not me personally, but apparently she does visit my friend.
And we're gonna call her Phoebes?
No, another friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is so fascinating because the first year that moved in, we had two people that had your abilities and they were picking up on a lot and they pretty much said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking in a crowded room and people are like, hey, oh my God, you can see me?
It's also interesting because based on the episode the episode before, I was like, yo, that's the room I'm in. So I honestly feel like...
Which is room...
101?
101.
I feel like that room actually has the ability to attract those of us that have the ability. It will really open you up, in other words. Yeah.
There are some places that I really believe can do that. And, I will admit the Omen House does it for me. Every time I go in and I do an investigation somewhere else in a different location, things happen to me.
Yeah.
And I've had them happen to me even when I'm not investigating. So, we all have a psychic muscle. I believe we have one of the clairs. We're either clairsentient, clairaudience, clairvoyant. But yeah, and I always tell people, well, some are stronger than others, And there's some people who, like our friend Bella, who really closes herself off.
Yeah, it can be very scary, honestly. And at times, I still don't believe I can do it. I still shock myself every time I do it.
And it's really, it could be very scary and challenging for you because, one, you just moved into a new city. You don't know anyone. You moved into this haunted dorm, great. And you just found out that you have these abilities. Now, did you inquire with your family or anyone like who else had these abilities? Is it one of those things where it jumped from one generation after another or every other generation?
So basically, I definitely talked to my family. I talked to my family about everything.
That's good that you guys have that open communication.
Yes. And so I'm adopted, but I talked to the people in my biological family that I'm connected to, my aunt on my father's side and my sister and my other aunt on my mother's side. No, sorry. My sister on my dad's side and my aunt on my mother's side. But basically, both sides of my family have it. And it's one of those things where both of my parents, my biological parents, had it. And no one expected me to have it because of the whole idea that it usually skips.
Yeah.
But due to the fact that both of my parents had it, it went straight to me. And also my sister, who is older than me, she has it. So honestly, I believe it's one of those things where it's in the family throughout, whether or not the next generation is exposed to it, but due to circumstances and environments, it can be brought out.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with me.
That being there really opened you up, huh? Because it really has. I remember you were telling me how scared you were, and now you're kind of
terrified.
being guided. I referred you to one of our friends, the Ornery Oracle,
Yes, she's amazing.
and she's been helping you, right? Because
has.
it can be scary. It really can, especially if you don't even know you have it in the first place.
No. And a lot of the times a common question I get is, how do I know if I have it?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I noticed as a kid was that I would have my thoughts, and then I would have thoughts that I felt like didn't belong in my head. Things I felt like I shouldn't know. Mm-hmm. And of course, I would never say them until I got older and I came here, and I would start saying the thoughts that came to my head, and one of my friends was like, yo, you're reading my dead grandfather. Knock it off.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, that's everything you're saying is related to him. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, he loves you.
Oh,
Clearly.
that's so nice.
And I was like, he's putting that out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's fun. It's scary. And it takes a lot of discipline.
You haven't encountered anything bad, right? Or anything bad try to come in to your space?
Actually, I wouldn't recommend this entity as being bad, but more so not knowing personal space. So there was one incident where I felt like every person who has abilities, in your very first moments of it, I feel like you have your challenge. And to me, that is when you encounter an energy that is very persistent, that doesn't listen. For some people, it can be very negative. For me, thank God it was not. But this energy was very, very persistent and in pain.
Oh, wow.
And so I felt their pain.
Oh.
And it was really hard to be like, I can't help you because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But it was literally like a burning sensation running through my body of I'm in pain and I don't know what to do. As if this person was, whether people believe in heaven or hell or not, as if this person was in hell. And they were like, I don't belong here kind of feeling.
Right.
But it was pretty scary.
Do you believe there's heaven and hell?
I do. Personally, I do. And I also do believe that there could be people that are stuck in between.
Yeah, like a purgatory.
And I also believe that some people actually choose to stay on Earth.
Yeah.
That's
I agree. I agree with that.
That's one thing that I noticed with Judy. I did ask her, like, do you ever want to go to heaven? And she was like, I'm not ready. So I'm like, okay.
I have come across other mediums that would tell me that with certain entities, you know, especially the entity outside of my apartment that Shay had helped me with too. He's still outside, and I would tell him, can you please go to your family? Like, I'm like, why do you want to linger around this apartment complex? It's boring. It's super boring.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the valley. It's boring. It's hot. What the hell? And according to Shay, it's just that he doesn't want to. He has the ability to go to the light. He just doesn't want to yet.
Yeah.
So every time when my dog senses something outside or looks out in the patio, I'm like, can you please go to your family and go to the light? I'm trying to watch Netflix. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't want to leave, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's cool. You know, just stay.
I want to leave when I'm good and ready. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And a lot of the times, a lot of them are actually assigned, I would say, to people to help them.
Yes, I believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
Bella had informed me 2 incidents that one is still, well, both are still ongoing. There's an incident with the kettle.
Yes.
So let's talk about the kettle, and then we can segue into the incident of the missing jewelry. So things are going missing. So that is common spirit activity, and it has happened in other locations too, especially to me when I went to Myrtle's. But let's talk about the kettle.
All right, so the kettle, we have a name for it. Water heater Peter.
And, that goes neck and neck with Libberwashi from one of our tales. Yeah.
Yes, because every time either it's nice and quiet or emotions are really high, because I was dealing with a family emergency and I was deep in emotion, and the kettle turned on and there was no water in it, and usually it will not turn on unless there's water. And we looked and there's no shortage, but it turned on, and if you're just one person there, it'll stay on, but as soon as you grab someone else, it'll turn off. As soon as you grab someone else.
That's what Bella said when she walked into the room when it was happening. Like, right when she walked into the room, it stopped.
Yes. So it's very interesting. We've kept it unplugged, and it hasn't happened while it's unplugged, but every time we plug it in, it doesn't happen all the time, so that's how we know it's like not a shortage. And we can move it and it won't do anything. But as soon as we back away and we're very calm for a little bit, or like one of us is dealing with something emotionally internally, it'll turn on.
Wow. Who do you think is turning it on?
No idea.
Do you think it's psychosomatic, where it's all of your energies probably turning it on?
Probably.
Where in cases it can be like that. We talked about it in even the poltergeist case where, you know, there was a child who was of age that, you know, may have had the ability to create all that chaos that was going on. You know, it could be psychosomatic where you guys like mentally don't even know it, but you could possibly be manifesting these things that are ongoing in your space.
Yeah, it is possible. And that is one thing that I noticed with this ability. This actually goes along with the jewelry. So the bracelet I was talking about losing, that is one of the pieces that is missing, along with a necklace I had. And
Bella told me it took a plant. Her little plant went missing. I think her necklace or something went missing.
Yeah.
Everyone's jewelry is going missing, and she even informed me this is not a space where, you know, where someone is taking these things. We don't think it's anyone like stealing this from us, but we feel like something is happening.
Yeah, we're all very honest people in our room, and we're all very blunt with each other. So literally we would go and be like, "Hey, my jewelry's missing. Where is it?" And they're like, "No idea. This of mine is missing. Do you know where that is?" And I'm like, "No." So many things have been missing. And literally after my jewelry went missing, I got it for the purpose of keeping me focused and keeping positive energies around me, because I'm a very positive oriented person. I hate negative energy with a passion. So basically, I was fine. I will always remember this night. We were watching Django Unchained because we had to learn Southern dialects. And that night, I said that I was going to put my jewelry and hide it. For some reason, I felt the need to hide it.
Oh, man.
And so I hid it. And the next morning, I woke up, went to the spot. It wasn't there anymore. But it looked as if nothing had moved. And literally, after I lost my jewelry, of course, I was, like, upset by it. But I started experiencing these things where manifestation was occurring in my life. For example, I'm usually, at times, I can be an insecure individual. And I was looking at a picture, and I said, "Oh, I wish I could be a model or, like, be on the cover of something someday, or someone take pictures of me." And literally the next day, a photographer came up to me and said, "Hey, we're taking pictures for advertising for the institution. Can we take some shots of you?" Aww. And I was like, "What?" I was so taken aback. And so I was like, "Sure, why not?" And there was another incident where manifestation occurred, and I can't really remember it right now, but it was like 3 things that happened in a row. And I was like, did my jewelry actually hold me back? In a way. So I still want it back, so whoever out there has it, give it back. But it actually has not really changed much negatively at all. If anything, it's been more positive for me.
That's good. That's good. I know other people who have your abilities have encountered, the kind of the opposite,
Yeah.
because they just don't understand what's going on around them, and it's like they're too open in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But you seem like you kind of honed in on it and like kind of knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then now you have like your I guess your sensei, your psychic sensei that's helping you too. Shout out to the Ornery Oracle. You can find her, guys, on Instagram. She's amazing. You should follow her. Her stories are great. I love her stories on her IG. They're great. And she does her little like daily card pulls, and she posts them on Instagram. But she's the sweetest person, the most amazing and beautiful person.
Awesome.
She is very awesome. She's helped me like hone into a lot of things that I'm sensing around, that I've sensed around my place and myself. So, and you even helped me too. So, and she confirmed it. I was like, no wonder. So it's amazing. It's amazing. Sitting right on my right, Holly, do you mind? Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
All right, let me start this over. So real quickly, we're going to add in another guest right now. You probably heard her stories on the Patreon page, guys. On Hollyweird Paranormal Patreon page, we have Saturday Night Ghost Club. Holly's story was a part, or one of her few stories was a part of the Saturday Night Ghost Club. And she too used to stay in the dormitories. Listening to Rissa talk about her experiences, do they correlate in parallel with yours?
Yeah, and also one Bella talked about as well. It wasn't necessarily a dream, but I was on the second floor when I was there. And I remember one night I just got this, I was almost asleep. I was like, when you're like moments away from actually being asleep, but you're still kind of aware of things. And I just remember getting this like really strong feeling that someone's face was like really close to mine. And it's like I opened my eyes, and it kind of felt like it kind of seemed like there was a darker patch over my face, but I didn't necessarily like see like a person, but I just kind of like felt like there was a little girl like leaning over me. Mm-hmm. That was in 211 or 212.
Yeah, it's funny because 211 was the room that I was in before I moved to 101.
Yeah, we talked about this. It's definitely the same room, right? Yeah. And there was that. There was like a couple times. There was this one time we were all sat in the kitchen, and we had really like stiff drawers. Like, I don't know if they're still like that in that room, but you really had to like pull the kitchen drawers open. And there was this one time, there was like 3 of us sat at the kitchen table, and we were just talking, and all of a sudden out of the corner of our eye we saw the drawer like go open like this. Like, just, it wasn't fast or, like, really slow. It was just kind of in between. It just, like, opened. But that was, like, one of the drawers that you had to, like, full on, like, you had to, like, yank it open because it was so stiff. And we were all like, what? I remember, I think I just walked over and just, like, slowly pushed it closed because I was like,
that didn't happen.
Yeah. And we always used to hear knocking as well, like 3 knocks.
Oh my god, that's crazy that you say that.
Now knocking where?
Actually,
it was like on the wall, I feel like, but sometimes you felt like it was the door and there was no one there.
That happened to me last night. I'm not kidding.
So we have validated several stories because you graduated last year, right?
Yeah, May.
And you came in 2 years ago. Well, a year and a half ago, technically. So you guys really didn't know each other.
No.
So here we are.
Yeah. So actually last night I had trouble sleeping, and I remember specifically that there were 2 knocks right above my head on the wall. Mm-hmm. And it's happened. This is the second night it's happened. And I'm like, what do you want? Like, leave me alone. I can't sleep.
What do you think that is?
I have no idea. I don't get any energies from it at all.
Yeah. There was another kind of thing as well with the walls. In my apartment it happened, and someone else's, where things would just fall off the walls.
Yes.
But it wasn't like it was like not glued on or anything. It wasn't like it wasn't secure. My roommate had this little like whiteboard on the wall that she like wrote. She had like "Be Happy" written on it, and like with flowers. And one day, like, it had been up for a while. It wasn't loose. It was like, if you saw how it was, like, it wouldn't have fallen off really that easy. And I was just sat in the room on my own, and all of a sudden it just all crashed down, like, in, like, a second. And it was like, okay, I'll just ignore that. And then one of my other friends, he had movie posters in, like, glass cases on the walls.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think it was, like, 2 of them fell down at the exact same time and smashed it. It was, like, the Joker posters he had. I think. But that was the room that had a lot of weird things. They had a record player that would start playing, like, out of nowhere when it wasn't plugged in.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year this was?
This was 2018.
I'm wondering if that's kind of like the year 2 when Jeff graduated.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm thinking that this year's was also, that was the year that left with you, is the, before you came in, is the year that was experiencing
Yeah, it was
that energy, that malicious energy.
the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018.
Yeah.
So we were the year after Jeff.
Okay.
So, yeah. And,
Because I know he was still living on campus for a while too. So, yeah.
And in that room as well, particularly, I remember I was there. There was just me and, like, someone else who lived there, and he was, he went to the bathroom, and I was just waiting for him. And I was, like, looking out towards the balcony, and, it was really dark, and I just got this really creepy feeling all of a sudden. I was like, oh, I don't like it. And the balcony also is really tough and really hard to open. Like, you really have to, like, get your...
Yeah.
So annoying. Like, you have to, like, pull it, like, several times. And they're, like, big, sturdy doors. And I was looking out, and all of a sudden, it was like someone pushed against the door really fast. And the balcony door, like, moved in. Not the... like, it slides... Say it, like, slides to the left. It moved forward. Like, someone hit it.
It looked like someone hit it or someone was leaning against the glass.
Well, kind of, like, more of a shove, because it literally was, like, it looked like someone really shoved it.
And it wasn't windy. That wasn't the time during the Santa Ana winds, huh?
It was towards Christmas, but there was no way it was windy. It was, like, also, it was only one of the glass panels. But there's no way it was the wind. They're so thick and heavy to move.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't have been blown by the wind. It's, like, thick glass doors.
Have you ever experienced that?
I haven't experienced anything, no, not like that. Nothing super aggressive, letting its presence be known like that.
I'm kind of sensing is what people are bringing into the building that is causing certain and different types of manifestations.
Yeah.
And we talk about this in certain episodes, is what you bring to the table or what you bring to the environment.
Yeah.
And there's been some investigations where I've been in the middle of it where there's just this negative person and they're just bringing in all this negative stuff or attracting all this negative energy into the environment. So, yeah.
There was also, I remember, like, a more playful... It's at the opposite end of the second floor, like, the directly opposite one. I don't know if that... I guess, like, 201, I think. Okay. And my friend lived there, and I remember she had a video of it as well. The doorbell kept ringing, and they thought someone was, like, messing around with them. But no one lives... I don't think there's a room next to them. There's the laundry... And then there's another room, but on that side, near the doorbell, there isn't no room.
Yeah, there's definitely no room beside them.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, the doorbell kept ringing, and they're like, oh my god, who is that? So there's a little peephole in the door, like, you can see through, like, so they just waited, and there was no one there. And one of them made a joke and was like, oh, it's Charlie, and then the doorbell rang again. And they, like, watched it, and every time they, like, Charlie rang the doorbell rang. And they have a video with the camera through the peephole, so you can see that there's no one there, and they're like, if it's you, Charlie, ring the doorbell, and the doorbell kept ringing. Yeah. Like,
interesting.
Which was it was kind of like a playful thing. They were really, like, laughing balls, kind of freaking out about it. But, yeah.
What time did that occur?
It was night, but it wasn't too late, I don't think. Yeah.
The big question is, do you sense that Charlie is around the school?
Actually, I do feel like he does visit. Because I do remember my very first day coming to the institution. I was staring at this cutout of Charlie Chaplin, and I was just looking in where his eyes would be, and I saw eyes like shift quickly, and then I like jumped, and my instructor asked me what was wrong, and I was like, oh, nothing, it's fine. You know, this cutout is just kind of creepy. But I do feel like he visits. For some reason, I feel like he's a very playful energy.
Yeah.
Yet I do feel like there's a little bit of sadness inside.
Yeah. Inside of him. He did suffer, you know, with especially like dealing with his mom.
Yeah.
And other woes that he had, other wives. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to believe. I know that people have experienced him in the theater. I don't know if
my roommate has.
Yeah, I believe that because that's a story that one of the company directors has experienced, seeing a figure of a man.
Yeah, there's definitely a feeling you get when you're backstage.
Yes.
Especially walking through, there's like corridors from like the green room bungalow type thing into the theater, and there's definitely like a weird feeling you get.
I feel like there's other entities that go in there.
Well, there's so much like furniture, and there's so many random items back there in those rooms that I'm sure there's like, you know,
some things are connected to them because that's true. I mean, that's another theory or a hypothesis I'm trying to come up with. It's not just the stage that absorbs it, but it's also what the theater carries. You know, as a designer, sometimes I go thrift shopping or I get stuff on auction that are actual vintage pieces, dresses and other accessories. Props does the same thing too, where they go on auction and they buy things too that are vintage. So we don't know what's connected to those items that might cause a manifestation.
I can let you know that you have someone's suit.
That is true.
Yeah.
That he's no longer here.
Yep.
That is true.
Yeah.
What?
Because someone's like, she has my suit. Like, literally, it just happened.
Wow.
Like, you have someone's suit.
Oh, wow. Do you feel like there's anything here in my shop?
Oh, that time, Oliver. Yeah.
So, guys, I think it was a week ago, Rissa came in here and she was telling me about her experiences, her gift, and we did a kind of like impromptu ghost investigation. We did an EVP, and on her phone we collected some voices.
Yeah.
And there was this presence of Oliver who was very persistent.
Very persistent.
He was a little sassy thing. And I remember feeling like cold and prickly sensations, and you saw some things and I saw some things in the corner of my eye that before I could even say it, you came out with it first. And I was like, okay, you saw it too. I'm not going crazy. All right.
Basically, Oliver is very interesting. I always seem to get very either playful or very smoldery type entities around me. And it's very interesting because
That's good.
I guess it is, yeah. Because me personally, I'm not a very smoldery, you know, heightened sexual person at all. I'm totally opposite of that. And then I do enjoy being around very extroverted, playful people. So I do believe it could be what I attract.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know whose suit we have?
We have had some of the staff and faculty just donate suits that belong to their families.
Oh, okay.
I know that I have collected a couple of suits. I actually have 1940 suits that I purchased off of Magnolia Boulevard. Well, guys, we're going to go and venture into the dormitory with Rissa. Rissa has invited me to do a walkthrough. I don't want her to tell me where things are. Okay. Where things have happened in the apartment, but I wanted to first off get your approval for me to go in. I know that this is going to possibly cause something in there. You think something will happen in there when I go in?
Most likely, yes, due to the fact that they're like, oh, we have a visitor, let's show off.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, let's go for it, guys, so stay tuned. And here's a little side note, guys, before we go into our post-mortem with Bryce. 2 days after conducting this interview with Rissa, I researched the word Tommy and Judy Garland on Google, and this is what I came up. Judy and her companion, Tom Green, were rumored to be engaged. Judy came very close to marrying Tom Green, And Judy and Green had an off-again, on-again romance that went sour in 1968 when she had him arrested for allegedly stealing 2 valuable rings of hers. It's also mentioned that Judy referred to Tom as Tommy. Whew.
Girl.
Yeah. That was not even a cup of coffee right there. That was a huge pot of coffee right there that we just spilled.
It's just so crazy because she's, for someone to have the sort of like mental clarity with something that's such a new revelation is really impressive, I think. Like, she's like, when hearing her describe it, whether or not she is in the moment or not, she just seems so like calm and sure of herself.
Yeah. Even
though this is like a very new coming into her power kind of moment.
Well, now it's calm because I put her through with another individual that has her gifts. So a shout out to Ornery Oracle on Instagram, Shay. And if you guys have Instagram, follow her. She is amazing. She's actually helped me out with what I'm dealing with outside of my apartment.
Wow, yeah.
And she like confirmed it to a T. Other things that even Bloody Mary, when I first brought it up, like didn't bring up.
Whoa.
So I put her through with Shay, and Shay has been working with her to help her.
That's amazing.
And Shay is just this beautiful human being, to which is why you guys need to follow her. And
yes.
You should listen to her stories. She posts on Instagram. They're really wonderful words to like follow and hear. And she does these other like card drawings from her tarot deck, and it's just a wonderful page to follow. So go and give her some support and some love because she does that too. And with Rissa, she's been helping her kind of like navigate her
I
gifts.
love that.
And also, when I first met Rissa before her interview, and this was like a month before her interview, she didn't know how to control it.
I know, yeah.
She was really fearful of it, and I'm just so proud of her. Like, I'm like, I got a little emotional. I'm like,
yes,
I'm just
queen.
so proud because like I feel like I'm speaking to a different person.
Yeah.
Like when I was interviewing her, she was like so poised. She's like, this is what I have, and this is how I'm going to control it, and this is how I'm protecting myself. Because before it was like she was in a crowded room and she couldn't even like get a clear thought.
I know. When she said that, all I could picture, because I'm 5, was the end scene of Mulan.
Stop.
With all the ancestors being like, she gets it from my side of the family. And I was laughing so hard. I was like, that doesn't sound so bad because I'm not there. And if it was me, I'd die. But, get your Mulan party on.
Yeah. I'm so proud of her. And I could tell, like, she's still, like, developing and strengthening herself and her mind for it. I thought when she talked to me about the Judy Garland ghost, I was like instantly thinking about Bryce. So let's talk about
it's crazy.
The Judy Garland ghost.
Yes.
Because that was an interesting story. Like, I'm just like sitting there listening to her talk about this, and my mouth is just
I know, same. I was laying in bed.
Jaw drop to the floor. Like, what the hell's going on?
Well, it's just so interesting. One of the crayon notes that I took. Yes, that's right. Hard-hitting journalism.
Do you know the color of that crayon?
It's blue.
It's blue?
It's very, I don't know.
It's not like aqua blue or...
Actually, this crayon was literally just called blue, but I think it's more of like a corn maze. Yes. One of the things that struck me was and whether this is her perception or... there's something definitely happening, and the energy in the dorms feels very different than what it did during Katie's time. That was the one thing I kept touching back to as I was listening through. It was like, when we were talking to Katie, when we were hearing from Peyton, it was quite sinister. And I was like, God, these students like really are not safe. The Shadow Man, especially like in the window and all of that.
It really instilled a lot of fear into that class. Even the class after them, like a year after them, was sensing still some sort of negativity.
Yeah, and so to hear that, and then, one of the things that touched me in, like, Bella's story was like, well, I have these, like, 3 guardian angels. It seems like not knowing this class at all, having now not worked there long enough that there's, like, a whole cycle of students that I no longer know. It seems like their energy that they've brought to the dorm seems a little less chaotic and a little more like, we accept you, we see you, but we're here for like light and love. Yes. Whereas like no tea, no shade, but that class had some other external issues.
Well, yeah, there were
so there was a lot of chaos anyway
with problems.
that then was being, I think, was then being fed into an already sinister negative force, where it seems like, you know, with Bella talking about the little girl and with Rissa talking about all of the things that she's experiencing. Yeah, the Pinstripe Man, like at first I was like, oh, that's the Shadow Man. She's seen it. But then as she kind of was explaining, even the cowboy, like it all seems quite like benevolent. And then into the Judy Garland, where it's like, oh, okay, well, this is like so not nefarious. I don't know. I wonder if there's like a kind of shift happening if we think about the bathroom in the MVP building. Like I feel like it's migrating through the campus, but like the dorms seem in a much better place.
That's a good point, because I have a picture, guys. I'm going to show you this picture that this girl, it was supposed to be her roommate. We're going to call her Phoebes.
Hi.
And she had a huge experience. She saw and witnessed the same shadow person as Rissa.
Oh my God.
She said that she woke up, walked into the living room. This was early in the morning. She sensed that something was there, and she saw the shadow man dressed as a cowboy, and he had the straw in his mouth, and he looked at her, and she looked at him, and it was really funny. She's like, I was so excited to see him that I waved at him.
Aww.
I was so happy to see him, and he looked at me, and he tipped his hat, and I closed my eyes, and he was gone. Like right after she opened her eyes, he was gone. And then it just already processed in her mind, like, that isn't normal.
Yeah.
You know, but I asked her, I'm like, did you get a feeling that it was something sinister? Did you feel like scared or anything? Because I know, like, we had a student that saw something similar to that, and it intimidated her. It caused her to, like, get really scared. It caused her to the point where she broke down in tears. And what was so fascinating about Katie's story about that is that she had validation.
I know, that picture always really creeps me out.
Yeah, and not only that, but Drew,
oh right,
who was the fellow RA who worked with her, who is a big skeptic, saw the same thing.
Oof.
And he was like, Tammy, there was something there. I'm not going to say as it goes, but there's something there.
Ugh.
Of course, pure skeptic. So there you have it.
We're the best.
So yeah, it's something that, I mean, I'm just so amazed of how well it shifted. Like Rissa said, I think it left. I think it left with that class, or maybe like because of us, it knows not to be there anymore.
And something that I've always noticed so I was there for, as a student, 3 years, and then, you know, as a worker, another 5. So I was there almost a decade.
Yeah.
And there really is an ebb and flow of the class energy, and that's not even in a paranormal sense, but I think the end point that I'm making is that I think it does feed into that.
Yeah.
But we always, you know, lightly tongue in cheek, but there was a pattern for quite a long time of like good and bad years kind of sandwiching each other.
Absolutely.
And like the year before me, like no tea, no shade to anyone that might be listening. I'm roommates with one of them, so I loved them. Like I was friends with a lot of them because of stage managing for a company.
Right.
But they were quite a bad year. And we then were quite a good year in terms of like the ethic and work and things like that. And that pattern really has held for quite a long time. And the kinds of drama sort of fluctuates to that pattern based on who's at like the head of the school, like who the second years are.
I will agree that after a particular director of the school left, blink, 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 no tea, no shade, that the quality of the groups of students that were finally coming in, I noticed that they're a little more positive.
Yeah.
And they're so much sweeter. Like this class, I really I've grown close to.
That's nice.
And working close with, like, I feel more.
Because there have been some.
There's some that I'm like, please
this
get
class
the hell out.
Yeah, this class has got to go.
They need to leave. Like, I don't know how they got accepted. Oh, like, okay, the check cleared. All right, I get it. But
you know, money talks.
Yeah, money does talk a great deal in this city. But I mean, I could tell with this year, like, they're really a sweet year. Everybody has mentioned that this year and group of students, they're very nice.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
It is very, very refreshing. But here, I'm going to show you this picture. Yes. Now that I found it right here. So this is Phoebes, and this is in the MVP room.
Oh, sure.
So this is the girl that witnessed the shadow cowboy man. And I want you to tell me what you see above her.
Oh, yeah. So
that is a huge...
That's such a turquoisey...
orb.
Oof.
that is a mega orb.
It's so big and creepy.
And Phoebes has a strong psychic muscle.
Yeah.
I would say almost strong as Rissa as well, because she has seen the Shadow Cowboy Man.
Oh my God. So it's a live photo and I just tapped on it and the orb flashes.
Moved.
Oh God, I regret so much that I tapped
I'm going to post this on our Instagram, but this is something that she did send me to show me. She's like, I think it either follows me or it's around the MVP rooms, which are the movement rooms at the school where the students do their, dance and movement classes. They also do their combat choreography, and their sword work. So I'm surprised that now it's kind of like expanding there. I don't know if you remember Mr. Garcia.
Yes.
So Mr. Garcia, I mentioned this in our other episode, but this is his story. I couldn't get I couldn't record his story because he was in rehearsals like all week.
Tell him to get his priorities straight.
Know, seriously. So he's into the paranormal, and he even mentioned to me while I was talking with Phoebes about her experience, he was like, I have an experience in MVP.
Everyone's got one.
And I thought he was going to joke around. He's like, no, I'm serious. Like, something happened to me in the bathroom. So he's like, I'm going in there doing my business, and for some reason, I'm by myself in this bathroom. I didn't hear anyone come in. And he said, for some reason, my focal point goes to my left, and I look down, and there's a pant leg. There's a leg of a man. And I was like, what did the leg look like? He said, it was a pinstripe. And
God.
The shoes were two-toned.
Oh my God.
It was like a brown and creamy white color.
Oh my God.
And he's like, what the fuck? And he kind of like finished his business, and he looked back over, and it was gone. But he said that he felt like he was like someone else was with him. And when he turned and for some reason, like his focus shifted to the left, and he saw this pinstripe pant leg and this shoe that looked very period. Like, he's like, I got the sense the man was in a suit. He was from the 40s, but he was there.
Oh my God.
And that's when like Phoebes like chimed in, and more students chimed in, and they started chiming in with their experiences in the dormitories.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But you also hear later in this interview that, my coordinator who's an alumni who graduated last year, Holly. If you're not a Patreon, Holly's stories on our Saturday Night Ghost Club through our Patreon, but she shares a couple of those tales of her living in the dormitory, but she had to chime in. She's like, everything that Rissa was saying is something that I went through. And even Rissa, validated, like the rooms that you talked about, in the Patreon episode, and even the rooms that were mentioned in the first episode, the part 1, I lived in that room,
That's so crazy.
Mm-hmm. So right now what we're going to do is go ahead and listen to the interviews with the rest of the roommates.
Yes.
So Rissa allowed me to go into dorm room 101, and I will tell you guys, there was a vibe there. There was the feels. And we ended up doing a little impromptu ghost hunt in her room, and we caught a couple of things.
Yes.
I tried to go back to see if I could capture any EVPs. Maybe you guys can hear it. Let me know. Just shout out a message on our Facebook and our Instagram if you did hear anything. But I will warn you, there is some sound pollution in the background because I was recording during the day. I mean, these are students, so they're moving about. There's all this other movement and chaos around us too. I mean, it is a building in Hollywood, so it's never a dull and quiet moment, FYI. But yeah, I mean, we tried as hard to, be in a quiet room while doing this. So, but we did come up with a couple of things, and here it is. Rissa to the first floor, and we're about to enter 101.
Yeah, you're fine.
You're fine.
Can I talk?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely talk. Oh, you went blonder, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Hi.
Sorry, I was confused. We're talking about the spirits that are in our room. Oh, really?
Yeah, so I have a paranormal podcast, right?
Yeah, she told me.
So we did, I don't know if you listened to that episode, but we spoke to the first people that lived in this building before you guys. And their stories paralleled with everyone. And I think even Holly...
They were in our room.
They're in your room. So
really?
We have listeners that are asking for a part 2. So
wow, so you're going to interview Riss?
I've been wanting to come here inside the dormitories, I was always like, oh great, they're gonna see me like coming in here, like what's she doing in here? Yeah. But I wanted to, I mean, if you want to share your stories, I'd be more than happy to record you.
She has a story about lights in her old apartment.
Oh really?
That's not in this one though.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's in another one.
But if you guys have any other stories, I'd like to sit down with you and talk to you guys as well.
I don't know like specific stories, but like it's just there's always in this apartment there's always a sense of like seeing something out of the corner of your eye or whatever.
Peter.
Like
Peter.
It's like I go into the bathroom and it always seems like
There's
something
there.
here or something here. Like this area.
There's always someone.
You guys sense a lot of things here then.
Yeah.
Have you guys always been a believer in the paranormal or something otherworldly?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
And coming into this apartment, you just knew like there was something here instantly.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anyone. Rissa has by far better abilities than me. But there's always a weird sensation in here that I lived in 2 apartments here in the dorms before this, and it wasn't like that there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like a semi-skepticist if you wanted to talk to someone.
I mean, if you're
like, I'm not sure. Like, I'm undecided.
You're kind of open-minded skeptic,
yeah, like,
call it
I'm
that way.
I'm not sure, but I also wouldn't deny it outright, you know?
Yeah.
Like a maybe.
Have you seen anything in the corner of your eye or have experienced anything that you couldn't explain in this space?
A lot in our other bedroom, not in this one. I mean, the water heater turning on and off before our eyes all the time. I don't know if that's paranormal or just like weird with the water thing, but
yeah,
I've definitely seen that happen a bunch. What was that other thing that Jolene saw? Something.
You saw something?
Yeah, something. Like completely just fell off out of nowhere.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't like off a high shelf. It was like off the table somehow.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, no, she told me. Yeah, you should ask her about that.
Yeah, I actually get nervous to come in here in the middle of the night, like in this area.
I'm always
Great.
here in the middle of the night.
I know,
I always
I
have my
like-
headphones on. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
never-
like terrified. Specifically, in this area,
Mm-hmm.
a common thing that I've noticed is at times if I get readings, I always say like the couch, but I don't know what the couch has to do with anything.
They're like, get it out, it's an eyesore.
I know, this is what, again, I don't know if this is just coincidence, but often all the girls in the house will have nightmares on the same night.
Yeah, we
That's
have
what
nightmares
I
on the same
recognize.
night.
That's what I believe.
Every time we have nightmares,
We all
have nightmares.
And they're always like similarly like traumatic nightmares.
Yeah.
Or, like,
Do they
dark.
parallel, like you both dreamt the same nightmare, or what are the nightmares that you guys have?
Sometimes they're both just nightmares, or sometimes they're familiar. We've had ones about being chased, or one time Jolene both had a nightmare about like killing someone we loved.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was Jolene.
That's intense.
Yeah, so it's weird that we get like the same nightmares at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are probably in sync. You probably are in sync about something. Yeah.
I don't know if something's delivering the nightmares.
That's so
but-
interesting that you mentioned this area right here has a lot of energy because, the security guy has shared a story with me where he saw something in this, like the corner of this entryway, this little breezeway outside, which was this shadow guy. He saw him in his security camera, and he said by the time he got to the breezeway, which is really close to his post, he said there's no way that guy could have run down all the way to the end and jumped over the fence. He would have seen someone.
Right.
But he was like, it was just odd. I saw it in my camera. It was a man in a hat.
A hat?
Yeah.
It was a shadow man in a
the
he was
shadow
like
man in the
he
hat,
saw
that
it
was right
peeking.
You told me about the man in the hat. We call him a cowboy. I don't know if that's
See, that's a
accurate,
different
but-
one. See, the first one that we had gotten stories from, and we have it documented, was the man in the fedora who was not good.
Not really.
He was really bad. But we think he left with someone in that specific year that brought him here. So
attached to a person rather than the space itself.
exactly, because you guys haven't experienced him, but this guy was no bueno.
We just
Yeah, we haven't experienced anything bad. At least not.
No, not
I
bad.
haven't seen
Just
anything
very
like
like
that or
they're
dark.
just like
Maybe mischievous.
yeah, very very.
And then you guys are lucky because like this dude was really scary. He really loved to instill fear in a lot of people. So
Did we debunk the smell from yesterday?
I don't know if we
No.
did.
I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah, there was like
Did
this
anyone
weird
come to
plastic
check that out?
smell
We
the other
even
day.
called people
Yeah.
in about it.
Yeah. They came to check it out. It's not smelling like it anymore.
But
it was like
we
this
all
weird...
smelled it, and I'm not sure if we managed to explain it or not. We might. Did we? Was it the vents?
No, because
she turned the vents.
She turned the vents back on, and that smell wasn't there anymore. It's like we had this very strong plastic smell.
Burning
only
plastic.
in our apartment.
Yeah,
it was yesterday.
I'm wondering if it may have been due to the vents. Was anything on, or was the stove on, maybe, or it was in the rooms?
It was all over, but it was strongly in the rooms, and we waited until the smell was gone, and we turned the vents on again, and the smell didn't come back.
I can't say that for definite, but it is just weird, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's worth discussing. I don't really know.
Yeah,
well,
but things go missing all the time.
And have you guys experienced things going missing?
Yeah.
All the time.
Absolutely. What can I think of?
And it's also like...
But I have to just lose things a lot, so I can't...
In many cases, or at least for the things I've lost, it's things that, like, I know y'all wouldn't steal. Because, like, like, I have a bunch of silverware that, like, has, like, gone missing. And I know y'all wouldn't steal it because y'all have way more than me. Why would you steal mine?
Yeah.
So, like...
It's like
silver. They love shiny things, I guess.
Yeah, silver, crystals.
Well, your crystals.
My crystals are gone.
That's right.
They're just
They
gone.
disappeared
That's
off
so interesting.
the shelf. And it was right in that area that you guys mentioned before. They were just sitting there.
Oh yeah, usually I kept my things there as well.
Like on that windowsill?
I usually, so my plant's right here, and I used to keep some of my things here as well. And then once my stuff went missing, I was like, I don't know if I should anymore. But yeah, my stuff would be here. And this is the plant that just doesn't die.
Oh,
All
wow.
of us swore up and down we've never seen anything happen to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it happened in the midst of a night.
God, and you always keep the doors locked, right? Or do they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told Rissa, it might be like under your bed, and when you like organize, it'll show up.
I
and
organized
Rissa,
so many times.
It's been 2 times since she like totally took down her bed to like change like the height or whatever. And both times she hasn't found her drawer.
Oh.
I was convinced she would find it there.
I remembered something. This is the weirdest thing that's happened. I completely forgot. And again, I don't know, but it was in the middle of the night. I was with Jolene, and I think one of our other friends. We were standing over here, and I heard Rissa go, "Ken's," like right behind me. And my instant thought is that she was standing, she sounded really tired, like sounded like she was going, "Ken's," like I imagined her rubbing her eye. And I assumed I was talking too loud and woke her up. And she came out to be like, "Ken's, you're talking too loud. Please keep your voice down." And it was right behind me. And I turned around and there was nothing there. And it was my name and Rissa's voice, clear as day.
Yeah.
And she was fast asleep in the other room.
I was in bed.
That was freaky. Like, it was right behind me. And I turned around and I was like, what?
And
that's the only really, really, really weird thing I can attest to.
There's been lore of, especially around here, because, you know, California is a place of mysticism, especially where we're located. There have been tribes of Indians. Yep. And not too far away, they use a lot of this land as, like, means of transportation to, like, crossroads. In the case of David Oben's house, like, there is someone made a big idea or discovery that it could be whatever has there too, is kind of like a mischievous spirit, like kind of like a skinwalker in a way, where they like to take the form of other people or mimic the form of other people.
Yeah.
Sound like them or even look like them. So I'm wondering if maybe you have something similar that comes and goes and likes to play around like that, I'm sensing. So who knows?
I got the number 3.
Just right now?
Yeah, I'm guessing there's 3 energies.
Right now? Right here? Yeah. Well, let's move forward. Let's see if they're going to talk to us.
Oh, you're going to go to the room?
Right here.
I apologize in advance.
Oh, it's okay.
Good. We try to organize this, whatever. So, usually this wall right here is where the knocking will happen. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the night, I hear it. I don't know if the other 2 hear it.
I do not hear it, but I'm a very heavy sleeper.
Yeah.
So I don't hear anything other than my alarm.
But it'll be 2 knocking sounds like it happened last night, and I could not sleep after that. Also, we do talk in our sleep, and we've listened to each other.
But I've personally never done that in my life.
Yeah. But I
Like,
caught her one time.
I do not, like my mom, I've been living with my mom, my dad, all of them can say that I've never talked in my sleep. It's just not something I do.
Right.
But now Rissa says I talk in my sleep.
Yeah.
So,
I've heard a conversation between the two of them while they're sleeping. And I've tried to pick up little things here and there. Apparently in my old room, I sang a song in the middle of the night in German. I don't know German.
How do you know it was German?
My roommate, one of her closest friends was from Germany. And she, apparently she heard it and knew what language it was.
You should get this app on your phone, but there's an app where you can set it on sleep and it will start recording things that you do in your sleep, snoring, even talking, or any movement. It will just start recording it automatically.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think I should.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, we will have, weird, apparently, she's caught us having weird conversations in our sleep.
Wow. Would you mind if we close the door and just sit down and see if something happens? All right. So, guys, it's just the two of us. Now, there are two of her roommates in the main common area. So what we're going to do is just sit down and see if anything happens. I'm going to put the phone in the middle here, and we're going to see if anyone or anything wants to say hi.
I get this name a lot when I'm in the room, and it's Karen.
I wonder if it's Karen Carpenter, which is right next door, because she used to record in the studios next door.
Really?
When it was, I think it was A&M Studios. But it was a music studios, I think before or after the Jim Henson Studios moved in, or while they were there. But Karen Carpenter, I was told, does visit that studio space next door. That's another thing that you guys have is the Charlie Chaplin Studios.
Yep.
Or the space formerly known as Charlie Chaplin Studios or Jim Henson Studios. So there's a lot of things that have occurred there. So.
And at time also, I will catch myself for no reason just staring in the mirror. Just staring. I don't know why. Also, a weird thing that's happened ever since I got here. You can ask one of my roommates. My favorite place to be in any apartment or house is the bathroom.
And that's where you guys feel and sense a lot of things in there. Okay.
That's my favorite place to be. Or in my room, and I'm always staring in the mirror. Or I'm always staring in this corner in the middle of the night.
This corner right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever the doors close at night, I'm always staring.
That happens to me whenever I go into a space. For some reason, I'll be drawn to a certain area, and I keep on looking and looking at that area, and then looking again. I'm waiting for something to manifest, or something is standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about a bows or a bow tie, and specifically the color red.
Is that coming to you right now? Or
Yeah.
A red bow tie.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No idea.
No idea what that is either. Pee Wee Herman? I don't know. I was working with a lot of red neckties and ascots during a fitting today, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Is there anyone or anything here that likes to come and make communication? You can make a knock or tap. My name is Tammy, and as you guys probably know beforehand, I have a paranormal podcast, and I'm interested in your world. I know you guys like to mess around with Rissa and her friends. You guys like to talk to her. You know that she can hear and feel you. Is there a little girl here? Okay, we just heard a tap behind me right now.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it?
That was a tap.
Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. Can you make another one? If you're the little girl, can you make another tap? Or Or maybe you want to say something into this device here in the center between us on the floor. There's this little mic. You could come and say your name, or you could say hi. And that's a car horn outside. Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I keep staring at this area near this Disney little poster I gave to my friend. Specifically, I think someone's right there. Do you feel cold right there when you stand there? Do you feel something like cold or like weird?
No. I mean, I don't know. But you've seen stuff here before, right?
Marking that Rissa's roommate just entered the room, guys, so.
Yeah.
You saw a person right here one night, right?
I didn't tell her about that. I thought it was her.
Oh, yeah, and I was in
Wow.
I thought it was her.
What time was it?
It was around the same time I saw the cowboy. It was like I saw two entities that night. It was like it was a girl. And I thought
Same
she was
height, hair color. That's
hair color was
interesting.
the same.
Wow.
Hair color was the exact same, so blonde. And
That's
I thought it was
crazy.
her. And I asked her, I was like, "Were you up?" And she's like, "No, I wasn't."
Huh.
But she was like sitting there and just like vibing.
I don't sit there.
She doesn't sit there. Yeah.
I don't.
Wow. When was the last time you saw the cowboy? Or is he just, you just always sense that he's always here?
I don't sense that he's here anymore.
Oh.
It honestly, it was like that one time thing. But I know for a fact, like, I said I didn't feel the little girl, but I think I do feel her. Because I get the sense of a lollipop, bows, pink, and a dress.
Sorry, I just feel like my equilibrium just got thrown off right now. And I have a little bit of a headache. Which is, for me, like an indicator. I've learned that this is an indicator now. When you were talking, it just, like, hit me. So you're getting the sense that, like, you're seeing bows, pink, and lollipops.
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically.
So these are things that is she trying to communicate that these are things that she likes, you think?
I'm guessing so. Like, I get the feeling that she's, like, yeah, and I keep wanting to stare here, so I'm going to.
Okay.
I get this feeling that she's, like, very curious.
Oh.
Very friendly energy. And I don't want to say intimidated, but kind of a little bit intimidated.
Don't be intimidated. Can you possibly tell us how old you are? Do you know I have a little puppy? Her name is Mia. And she likes pink. I think she likes pink. She's a bit of a tomboy, but I like to put her in pink. And I just gave her we just heard a bump.
That's another thing that's happened. So before the people above us moved in, apparently we would always hear knocks. We would always hear, like, dragging. And sometimes we still do. But when we told our head housing person about this, she said that that's impossible because no one was living there.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When we heard them dragging the furniture upstairs?
Before they moved in.
Yeah, when we were hearing all that shit.
She said that
there was
impossible.
No people there?
She said that was impossible. There were no people in that room.
That is
I did not know that.
Crazy.
She said that was impossible.
Okay, are you sure you don't have any spotters up there? Can you please go upstairs and look?
Yeah.
Sure that there's like a student that was lost thinking he moved into the wrong dorm. How old is she again?
I get this between 8 and 12.
8 and 12. Wow.
And something about, for some reason, I feel the need to say, like, she's either trying to say they don't count my birthdays or they should count my birthdays. Something with counting her birthdays.
Counting her birthdays. Do you get the sense of what era she might be from?
Honestly, I dare say hours.
Wow, okay. So that I've been trying to research child deaths and murders in the area between the time period of 1895 to 1945. And I found quite a few inserts, but in different cities outside of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Except for the 3-year-old that was hit by the car in the early 1900s off of Pico in Hollywood. So that's when I came across that. I found interesting that you synced with my story earlier. So now I guess I need to start looking to today to see if there's any reports. Okay.
Possibly even, I would say, go as far as like something related to the 70s until now.
Got you. Will do. Is she connected to this area, or you think she's connected to an outside city, like maybe Redondo or Long Beach, or she's more connected here? Okay. It's just that when I do my research, when I go through archives, they say like what state, what cities and stuff. So I want to make sure I put the right one, so I get the right archives.
I got a sense of a field trip happening.
Okay.
Have I ever mentioned a lake to you before? Like while we were sitting down and reading?
I don't think so.
Because I'm getting a sense of like a lake.
Possibly a connection with a field trip and a lake.
Yeah.
There's Lake Elsinore around here. There's Lake Arrowhead, Lake Mammoth. I'm hearing tapping all.
I got a headache now.
I'm hearing tapping all around us.
Yeah,
I'm hearing
happens all the time.
Okay.
I really have a headache.
Can you tell us?
I have a headache.
Do you want us to stop? We could stop if
No,
you need
no,
to.
it's fine.
Is it possible that you got hurt, honey, when you went on a field trip? That's crazy that we're just hearing, sirens right now and we're talking about it.
I thought it.
Yeah. Did something bad happen when you were on a field trip? Did you hurt yourself?
I don't know if this is it or not, but I got this feeling of someone walking on a log or something. And then she was like, someone pushed me. They pushed me.
Oh, dear.
But I don't think it was, like, intentional. Kids being kids, but gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, sometimes play can be a little too rough. And people get hurt. Or worse,
It's like I get this really very childlike person being like, no, no, no.
Did they push her from behind or on the side? They pushed her from behind?
I think it's behind.
Yeah, before you said that, my back was hurting. My upper back right here was hurting. Right before you said it.
And cerebral? Isn't that like...
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's your brain.
So isn't that like it cracked or something and just knocked her out?
She probably was pushed, or she slipped and her head hit the log. Or maybe she fell into the water.
Yeah, if you fall into the water and you're there long enough, you can have permanent brain damage.
There you go.
A lot of kids die of that because they just fall in their pools. So
they're not getting enough oxygen into their brains, yeah. She could have hit her head in the shallow end, maybe. That could have been another thing. And drowned, so.
I got this feeling of like holding a teddy bear or something. It's like as you're talking about the process of her passing, she's just like...
You needed comfort. I'm getting really cold. You needed some comfort, huh?
Did you guys hear footsteps?
Yeah, I just did. I was wondering. I was just going to ask if someone was outside or something.
No, I heard footsteps like right over there.
Yeah, that's why it was like right here by the door, and I wasn't sure. Maybe someone was walking to the bathroom or the room. I'm getting really cold. Do you not like us talking about water in the log? Do you like hanging out with everyone in this space? They all seem to have fun. They're all very nice.
I get this feeling of mentioning girls.
Yeah. Peyton, who has your abilities, who first moved into the dormitories, who was friends with Katie, would say that she liked to get ready with them when they would go out. I want to know, honey, if you liked Hannah Montana. If you were the one that played Hannah Montana that night you're getting ready with Miss Peyton and Miss Katie, you played Hannah Montana out of nowhere, and they kind of made fun of you on accident because they're like, what is this? That would make sense that she came from our era, because Hannah Montana is contemporary. It's our era.
I also got the show Drake and Josh.
Yes, you love Disney. Do you like the Jonas Brothers? They're pretty cute. I like Nick.
Nick's my favorite too.
I love Nick. I love me some Nick. Nick likes brunettes. Oh, no longer a brunette. That's right.
I think she's like Joe all the way.
Oh, Joe all the way. He's a cutie. Joe is a cutie. I will
That's my favorite.
Really? Oh.
Okay. It's like laughing but then crying.
Oh.
Like, I feel the need to speak for her, as in saying, like, it sucks because she's not really here. And I'm sorry if I get emotional, but it's because, like, I'm taking on.
You're taking on. We could stop. You can let me know if you want to
No.
stop.
This usually happens. And, yeah, it's like they're not here. And we know she's here, but we can't see her.
It's okay, honey.
And it's upsetting. It's kind of like a feeling of, like, I'm supposed to be with you guys, or, like, around your age or something.
You're sad because you should have been our age right now, huh? That you should have been out of high school or just graduating high school. There's a bump. There's a knock. I'm wondering why she can't move forward. Why she can't go into the light.
I got something about Mom.
Are you talking about your mom?
I guess her mom's still alive.
Oh. You should be with your mom. I know you like hanging out with these girls, but I think your mom really misses you. And you should go and be with her. There's a tap.
Yeah. I got, like, Tracy or something.
Her mom, or your mom's name is Tracy?
Or something with TR.
Trisha, Tracy. Trisha, yeah. Have you ever thought about going to go visit your mom? Do you remember where she lives? It's cool to hang out with your friends here, but it's also cool if you go see her, because I'm sure she needs to feel you.
It's like whenever you're asking questions, I feel the need to answer them.
It's okay.
And it's like, I want to say Glendale or something like that.
It's okay.
Like
I live close to Glendale.
Around that area.
Aw. Honey, do you have a name that we should call you? I just heard it on my left.
Someone's over there.
Did you just say something?
I just
heard a shh. Something like that. It's just like a whisper. Did you say something?
No.
I heard a whisper right here.
I didn't say anything.
All right, I'm going to have to go back on this. All right. I'm actually going to pause it right here, guys. This is what I heard, and I'm going to play it on repeat.
Someone's over there. Someone's over there.
I could be wrong. It could be Rissa possibly catching her breath after she let out a nervous laugh, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Now let's continue with the investigation.
Something in my head said door, and I'm looking at the door, but... Wait a minute. Is she Cheryl? If so, that'll be, like, really interesting, because I remember the very first time I got, my gift here, I always got the name Cheryl.
That's her name?
I don't know.
Can you tap if that's your name, if your name is Cheryl? We all heard a knock.
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you, Cheryl. Thank you for making that knock for us. So, Cheryl, you're the little girl? I'm feeling really...
okay?
You're cold?
Yeah, but for the first time since I got to this room, I felt cold.
Wow.
Thank you, Cheryl, for telling us your name and confirming that that's your name. Do you like being here? Can you knock again to let us know that you like staying here with these girls? Can you knock and let us know that your mom's name is Tracy?
Trisha? I got another name. Nicole?
I'm going to stop it here once more because I just heard what sounds like a yes. Let me know your thoughts, guys, but here it is.
Nicole? Nicole?
I felt that whatever was there was confirming that their name was either Nicole or Trisha. But let me know your thoughts. Now back to the investigation.
I got the sense of someone fighting.
Oh, wow. In boxing or just like
Like
fighting in defense?
Fighting like in defense.
Huh. Did you get into a little fight with someone and they pushed you off the log?
Was your mom in an abusive relationship? I got reindeer, and every time I get reindeer, I associate it with Christmas. Specifically, December 22nd. I'm not sure if it's 2008 or something like that. What are you getting, Fran?
No, I'm trying to think what it could mean. 12, 22.
I'm getting so like shaky, like I feel like the process of being drained.
Mm-hmm.
I am standing up. These are just the sounds of me standing up.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, sometimes when I get things, my friends and I research just to see.
That's good.
Yeah. This is either knitting or sewing.
Mm-hmm. Crocheting, maybe. Oh, you heard it right there.
Uh-huh.
There's another knock on my left. Are you under the bed? Can you tap if you're under the bed now? And lastly, I felt that this was some sort of response to my question if he or she was under the bed now. And I'm going to replay this on repeat and you guys let me know what you think. It sounds as though a child is saying yeah, but let me know what you guys think. Now back to the finale of our investigation.
How's everybody doing?
I'm feeling a little better now. I feel like less fuzzy, I guess is the best way I can feel. Like I feel like I wanted to go to sleep. Like I feel a little tired. You feel drained, right? Yeah. So we're gonna close the session.
Because I kind of felt like she was like, I have to go.
No, I just feel like being snapped out of it. Okay, so we're gonna close the session and say thank you to who we think is Cheryl. And call it a evening. Yeah. Thank you for communicating. So we're going to be signing out, guys. So, yeah.
Girl.
I will tell you this. I definitely felt something was in that room. And I think it is because of Rissa being there.
Interesting.
Because I feel like she is a magnet. You know? There were times when I would ask questions, I would hear a tap behind me. And Rissa would look.
Oh, my God.
Before I can even say, she's like, I heard the tap. It's right behind you.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Also, I was so fascinated when you all were talking about the language the German section and just like the ghost speaking in a language. And I found that so interesting. If like they are trying to communicate what they can and can't accomplish in that sense. I don't know. I don't know why that struck me as someone who likes language, I guess. I was just like, oh, and then obviously like it's so interesting that we have the technology now to like kind of overcome those barriers that would maybe be like deal breakers or like hurdles that were too high in the past. Like, oh, well, we have an app now that can like translate.
Exactly.
What?
For Issa to like be able to speak in German
Insane.
and stuff is like her roommates validate.
Yeah.
And that's so awesome that it's not just her living there by herself, but she has roommates there.
The corroboration,
Yeah. And, you know, the other two girls, I mean, you could hear it in their voice. They're not bullshitting.
No.
Yeah, because who was it? One of my friends was like, well, how do you know they're not, you know, making this up? Like, just to be on the podcast. And I said, when I walked into that room.
Because our podcast is not that cool. Calm
trust
down.
me.
Calm down, everybody.
Trust, all right?
That's hilarious.
We're not keeping it with the Kardashians.
Everyone
here.
is lying to get on our podcast.
It's like line of none.
Hilarious. Right, no, I love it. I love all our little guests.
But I mean, like, I walked in, they're doing their own business. Like, one girl was cooking, the other one was playing video games, and, you know, the one that was playing video games, she's like, I'm a bit of a skeptic, but I mean, I could tell you there's something here, you know, especially with the water heater. And and that's something that I'm still pending about too. Like, I don't know if it's something that it has to do with the water heater. I've asked him to, like, have you talked to student services, had the, you know, maintenance come and looked at it. And according to Rissa, maintenance has checked it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
So, but it's just acts up. And even Bella has mentioned too, like, every time I go into the room, it stops. And I'm like, well, maybe it stops because, you know, you're like the force that blocks it from.
I wonder, that's what I was wondering too, is if she's kind of like the cooler in a sense. You said, I think in the
she's like the
first...
Buffy the Vampire Slayer of the whole thing, where she's going to prevent.
But I think you said, it might have been in the first one where you said like you kind of bring that balance.
Exactly.
I always wonder about that too, because I have I've been thinking this for a couple, I don't know, years now maybe, but I have a sense that I dampen things when we're like doing like I was thinking about that with the episode with Bridget. My instinct is if it had been the two of you, I think more would have happened.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like opposite, because
really?
I felt like, you know,
well, at David Omen's house it was like so much.
And I've been to David Omen's house many times before we did that interview with him, and I've never seen those figures fall back to back to back to back. Like they
and
did.
He even said, and I found it quite creepy at the time, but he was like, well, they really like you. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm so not into that. That is not on my Tinder profile. Yeah. But I definitely thought it with Bridget. And then when you had mentioned that, it kind of like put words. I was like, oh, like these, if she's kind of like the balance, whether that's her skepticism or her guardian angels or whatever it is, that she's kind of like the cooler for the room, which I think is needed.
Yes.
Kind of keep everyone grounded.
Very much so. Those are all great opinions and hypotheses.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
like
all
could it be
conjecture.
could it be her guardian angels?
Yeah.
Could it be the fact that she's super closed off, that she's that blockage, you know, this mental blockage and this energy blockage.
Well, like you said, the mind is a powerful tool.
Exactly.
And as much power as you can achieve through like opening and expanding your mind. I always think about what Matt was talking about, like how he's so fascinated by like exploring his gifts and like seeing how far he can push, and please be safe if you are doing that, you know, like he really talks about like having people around him to keep him safe.
Right.
I think the opposite has to then be true, law of inverse. Like if you are closing your mind off that harshly, that emits a vibe too, like a shield or a barrier or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Complete conjecture with Bryce.
Yeah. But there's something too that was brought up after the investigation. So her friend grabs her phone and starts looking for child deaths, and she brought up an article about a child that drowned in Altadena.
Oh yeah.
In a summer camp. And it's so funny because Glendale, Pasadena came up in Rissa's mind, and guess what's between Glendale and Pasadena?
Right there.
Altadena. But when I reviewed the article again, the death of the child occurred in June of 2019.
Oh, wow.
But we felt, and even Rissa felt, like this child was earlier in the 2000s. So I was trying to dig deeper and deeper and deeper to see, okay, was there another child drowning? Nothing. But I don't know if maybe she was trying to tell the roommate in some weird way, like, this is how I drowned. It was at a camp, and this is what happened to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is something there. I mean, I felt it. It felt very uneasy in the room at the one point.
Wow.
And I mean, like, I even started getting a headache at one point, and my upper back started hurting for some reason. Like, I felt like I was being pushed from behind.
Weird.
And that's when she started talking about her being on the log, and probably somebody pushed her from behind.
Oh,
so,
God.
yeah, I mean, her roommate was in the room with us and validating a lot of things and witnessing it. And her roommate is kind of like neutral.
Yeah.
She's Switzerland, you know? She was like, yeah.
The thing that's so crazy, too, is I wonder how much plays into, like, them. I think the little girl spirit especially seems like she really wants to please people.
Yeah.
And the boy spirit, too, like, wanting to help and wanting to, like, comfort. And
yeah.
I wonder if there's an element of, like, I'm going to try and give you what I think you want.
You
and that would
need.
explain the, like, timeline discrepancies.
Right.
It's like, oh, yeah, it's this thing. When, like, you know, again, the ways that they are able to communicate seem so erratic because it's like they're just doing their best. Aren't we all?
Yeah, we're here for a reason. Ghosts are here for a reason.
Yeah.
You know? They are here for a reason. People always wonder, like, well, don't they move to the light? No, actually, you know, according to, you know, Patty Negri, who I did a ghost hunt with at the...
Oh, my God, those pictures are so cool.
At the Dearly Departed Museum, guys. That's going to, you know, come up on the Ghost Magnet YouTube page.
Yes.
And we're also going to do a post-mortem with Shayna Mokler and Patty, and also
Amazing.
with Bridget.
Hi,
but,
Bridge.
I mean, there are a lot of reasons why, according to her, why they don't move forward. They have unfinished business. This is their purgatory because they did a lot of people wrong. Or, you know, they're here for a reason, and it's to help people, you know. It's to help, you know, the living. And then when their job is done, they move forward. They move on.
Wow.
So I believe that. I feel like, you know, spirit stays here because they're either stubborn like Judy Garland, or the person that's outside of my apartment, and or they have, you know, they have to be here to help someone out, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Damn.
And what else when we were talking about, but even Rissa brought up too, the fact that the little girl might be there for a couple more years and she might move on. So there's that point where she died at a young age. She really didn't get to live her teenage years, her college years. And for her, this is her way of actually accomplishing that and living through the students, you know. I'm going to be here in this dormitory. I'm going to, you know, party and get ready with the girls and listen to music, put on makeup with them, and act like I'm a part of this crowd because this is what I missed out on, you know.
Yeah.
Which is really, really sad, you know. I know. A ghost that's FOMO.
I mean, yes. Oh, that is really sad, though. Get your party, girl.
Exactly. But yeah, that is, I mean, what do you think is still over there? Like, what do you believe?
I think that I probably am more in the camp of... It's hard, you know, it's hard when the stories are spanning generations of classes and they are matching up. But I think that whatever spirit is there is manifesting and feeding off of the energy in the dorm.
Exactly.
And presenting itself in what ways are being fed to it, if that makes sense. So not to like victim blame lightly, but I think having so many people who I think as people become more and more aware and less afraid of their gifts and more willing to engage and confront negative spirit, it will continue hopefully to lighten, if you will. So hopefully, I mean, I like that students aren't still seeing the Shadow Man, and
that I'm really happy about.
Yeah.
And I have another story about the Shadow Man. So I tried to interview the head of security.
Hi. Oof.
We can't say, I know.
Can't say his name, but I did
know.
working there with him. He is so fine.
I can't
Hope
find
he listens.
my fob. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope he listens. Miss seeing you. Bye.
Well, I tried to get him to do an interview, and at first, like, he was all for it, and then he was like, "I don't know, I don't do well with media and interviews, so
we'll coach you."
Exactly. So, you know, and there's times where we have people that like, I have a story, but I don't want to share it. Like, you recording me, but
Yeah.
I'll give it to you in paper, in writing, and you could share it for your listeners, which I really appreciate.
It's still so sweet.
And he was
to even
like,
take that time.
Yeah, so he shared the story with me again for me to communicate to you guys. So according to...
I'm going to picture him while you talk.
I know.
So just
I know,
keep
and a
going.
smile. Yes. So according to our head of security, one night, it was during the weekday. It was like a Thursday night, and it was past 12:30. He says, I think it's 12:30, or it was like 2 a.m.
Oof.
But it was really late. There's no one around. Everyone was in the dorms. And inside his little post, and where his post is located is between, literally this ley line between the dormitories and the property of the school. Because that was the purpose of purchasing that building, was so that the students can just like literally walk, through a gate and into the school grounds, right?
It's all self-contained.
Exactly. So he has his little CCTV screens inside. There's cameras around the building, so he can get a full front, side, and back view of the building. And there are strange characters in and around that neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a nice neighborhood, but there's definitely an element of shadiness.
And it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot worse.
It's not a great part of Hollywood, honestly.
It's not. Like this past week, I don't know how many syringe needles I passed on my way to Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
It's so funny. No shade at all intended by this, but when I was coming here and all the marketing is right in the heart of Hollywood, and as a little Gaby in the Midwest, you just think I'm going to be right in the middle of it, and then you move here and you realize oh, Hollywood's the bad part. All the nice parts are
it's Calabasas.
well, and none of the studios are here anymore.
Yeah.
None of the celebrities live here.
No,
Hollywood is a name.
It's just a name.
It's
right?
a name only, and it's quite dirty.
It
so
is very dirty.
If you're coming to visit, go to other cities. I promise you, Hollywood is better in your imagination. But the history is what people come for.
Exactly. But so he has to be vigilant, and he's very vigilant. He's very on guard.
Very seriously, yeah.
So he said, I'm looking at one of the images and I see this thing poking out, and then all of a sudden I see this man, and he's completely dark. At first I thought it was a man dressed in black, but I'm like, the whole figure is black.
Oof.
He's in a black hat, and he peers out and he shows me, it's on the left side of the building right here, the left side. So I get up and I rush out to go get him, but then of course by the time I get there, he's gone.
Ugh.
Now how close the post is to where he saw the man, the supposed man, is pretty close.
It's right there.
And for this, if it was someone that broke in, this guy needed to have been an exceptional marathon runner. It would have zipped all the way down the side corridor of the building and hopped over the 10-foot metal fence.
Oof.
So how could this person, in theory, have done that? But
and also without being heard, or without leaving evidence, or without kind of him catching him crawling over the fence.
Yeah, it's several yards away from the post. He's I could have at least seen him run and jump over the fence.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, and this is the creepier part. He said, Tammy, when I saw the figure on the screen, it looked at the camera.
God, I hate when they look at you.
It looked at the camera as if it knew that it was being watched.
Oh God, I hate that.
And that's when he got into security mode. And he said it really creeped me out. And I asked him, do you have the footage? He said no, it tends to erase or reset after a certain amount of time. So he said he should have recorded it with his phone, but it was something very creepy.
Well, and it's when you're in the moment, it's so fast.
Exactly.
So it just reminds me, I remember you telling me this story because it reminds me so much of the story in The Field. When they're when a figure is dark, when light isn't affecting it, when its shape isn't a factor, but you can just tell that it's human-esque.
Right.
And dark, and then you still know, even though you can't tell that it's looking at you, the just chill in your blood when that happens.
Yes.
That's
what he felt, and then I told him about the stories, and he said, no way.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, dude, that's what's been going on. I mean, he wouldn't know.
Right.
He has a very, he doesn't have that type of relationship we do with the students where they can tell us these types of tales.
Yeah.
But he would tell me, there's a lot of weird things that happen around this building. I've heard it, but I haven't really seen it until that night.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, if he ever needs someone to comfort him, I'm ready. He's gonna
Everyone has such a crush on him. Everyone.
So
he did something
handsome.
really sexy too. Last week, he skateboarded.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he was coming down the stairs with me to my car because he's like, yeah, there were these students that were freaking on their longboards and their skateboards, like skateboarding in the bottom level of the parking. And he's like, yeah, they can't do that. Like, the skateboard can hit one of the cars. And I told him, I bet you anything you're going to go and skateboard with them. Watch. You're going to grab one of their skateboards and you're going to skateboard. He's like, actually, I might do that because I used to skateboard for many years. I'm like, okay, that sounds really hot. Then sure enough,
Oh my God.
he did. He did in all of his glory. In his glory and his tattoos and his well-fitted Levi pants.
The only criticism is that I do hate cargo pants. God knows he loves them.
He doesn't wear them anymore.
Hope
Okay,
springs
I can
eternal.
tell you, as a stylist, he is wearing the Levi's 315.
Oh, that means he's seen someone for sure.
He's engaged. So.
Oh, isn't he?
Yeah, he's engaged.
That's new.
He's super engaged.
Ugh, look what happens when I
know,
leave.
what
Everything
happens.
goes straight to hell. And that's how I got a restraining order filed against me.
And there you have it. How not to stalk like Bryce Mitchell Williams.
Oh, girl, that's true. I went to this wedding last night, and the bartender was so handsome, and I just stared at him from across the room for like 3 hours. I have no game, but he was very fine. Good times. Good times.
You amaze me.
Thank y'all.
You're very welcome. I'm here to tell you that. Well, guys, that is part 2 of Is Our Job Haunted?
Damn.
And we believe that it is. I believe that there's something there. I really do. And I don't think it has to do with the building. I think it has to do with the land,
Yeah.
the area, and the fact that this is a dormitory that has, a lot of students that are going through a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
And, these students come in and they're opening up in every sort of way.
Yeah.
And that is what happened with Rissa, and she's learning how to hone in on her gifts and how to control it. And I feel like a lot of that is manifesting because of her and other students that have stronger psychic abilities.
I love that the woman that you connected her with is like, I love when people are willing to share the gift and don't hoard the knowledge.
See, that's when when that is your soul sister, right there.
It really is. Like,
You
I
know?
think maybe it's just an LA thing. Other parts of the country shout out, but there's sort of a spirit here of like, no one here is willing to help anybody
Because
It's
they're
just like-
faking it to making it.
we
Is what
all
it
are,
is.
and it's like it's very hard to date here because of that. It's
Yeah.
very hard to find meaningful friendships here,
Meaningful connections.
of any kind. And so when you meet people like Zachariah the Witch and this woman that you connected,
Shay,
Risa, like
yeah.
I just think it's so special and unique. Like, not only they're trying to make it work too, and I love that, but they're not like withholding the knowledge, and they're not
No.
like keeping people in
She's always
danger,
willing,
and they're
yeah.
like willing to help and
She's
train and
willing
teach.
to help. Yeah,
I love
she's,
that.
She's helped me out so much because I've been going through something really personal, and she's been helping me out a lot with that.
I love
and
that.
now she doesn't do a lot of like public readings.
Mm.
She's more controlled in that area where she's just more focused with
Yeah.
herself and the people in her inner group. She's always there to support, a lot of creatives.
I love that.
But even like her words of wisdom, her stories that she posts on Instagram are really good to follow. And and her deck, like when she pulls a card, her weekly pull for her Instagram post, like she has a wonderful like message that she always posts in regards to, the pull of that deck. So
Wow.
highly recommend that you go follow her, Ornery Oracle.
Hey.
And yeah, but I could tell like it was a major 180 with Rissa.
I love that.
After I put her in connection with Che and just talking to her, I was like, I felt so proud of her. I just felt like I really helped somebody out.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And it's like that's like I wanted her. I felt like she's someone so special, and for people that are going through that same issue too, it's not an issue. It's actually a gift,
Right.
and it's not a burden. Like Rissa's helping a lot of students too with her
Well,
gift.
and that's the thing. The more you try and suppress that or fight it or ignore
Yeah.
it, then it does start leaking out in quite toxic ways.
Right,
So for
it
her to like
does.
embrace it and like help people with it is
Exactly.
really lovely. It's
Yeah,
so
like
sweet.
she was reading other students, like she said, like I'm reading like the student's grandfather because he has a message for this specific student, and that's special,
That's amazing. Good for her.
Good for her.
Get your life,
indeed.
girl.
Yeah, putting the weird in Hollyweird.
Real.
Embrace your weirdness, guys. Never be
Yes.
afraid of it. And if you do have these gifts, just know that you're not alone and that there are ways to strengthen your mind and your third eye and to protect yourself. There's
Yeah.
always a way. always remain grounded, always remain, true to yourself, and just protect yourself.
I love that.
All right, Bryce, shall we take this to a close?
You know what? Let's do it.
I know. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Let us know what you think. Please let us know if you have any, haunted dorm stories of your own. We love to get those submissions in our Gmail. So you can contact us via Gmail at hollyweirdparanormal@gmail.com. And we can definitely save that story for one of our listeners' tales indeed. And also, guys, can't get enough of Hollyweird Paranormal? Then stalk us on Instagram and Facebook at Hollyweird Paranormal, and Twitter at HWP Podcast. That's via Twitter, and at Hollywood Paranormal on Instagram and Facebook. And catch up with our past episodes on Blueberry, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, CastBox, Player FM, and Spotify, of course. And if you love Hollyweird Paranormal, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a positive review.
Yes. Or negative. Just know that we know.
Regardless, even if you give us a negative review, our algorithms still go up.
I know,
so there
I don't
you
know
go.
what to tell you.
I know.
We are the Jinx Monsoons. It's just water off a duck's back. I don't know what to tell you.
They're a little petty, the reviews.
I kind of like it because, I just keep coming back to, we never have claimed to be anything.
I've mentioned this so much. Why do I have to add an insert about the volume and the sound? We are not sound engineers.
We're not anything. So honestly, keep them coming. It's fine. I'm not mad about them. I actually think they're kind of funny because, I think we're really honest about it.
We are.
We're just two girls living in the city, trying to make our way in Hollywood.
There was one. It was Tammy's voice is so annoying. I hate her fake spooky voice. I'm like, I'm not a Vincent Price. I'm not trying to be a Vincent Price.
I was just watching this clip. It's so funny. I'm having a very Vincent Price weekend. And the original Fly, I completely forgot. It's Vincent Price, a baby Vincent Price.
No way.
And he still has his baby is maybe an exaggeration. Very middle-aged Vincent Price. But it's because, by the time I was aware of him, he was much older.
Yeah.
But that voice is so iconic. And then at the end when the Fly is in the little trap spoiler, and he come here, and he gets to the little rock. I'm like, oh my God, it's so creepy. Vincent Price, no.
That's some good Vincent Price trivia right there.
He's coming up a lot for me this week, so I don't know if the universe.
Why.
I don't know. Thanks, universe.
I wonder if that's a spirit daddy.
I would like a different spirit. No.
Shay messages me. Tell Bryce that it is Vincent Price that is around him.
I would get down with that probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Look, if a ghost is trying to get me more coffee, then we good.
Oh, we good in the hood, homie.
Apparently that's my line.
Stop.
You're scared of ghosts? Yes, except for coffee.
There you go. Well, guys, definitely follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Let us know what you think of the episode, and tune in very soon because we'll be doing the life of Lisa Ann Mathers and the true crime of the Count of Sunsets. Not only that, but we're also teaming up with one special bruja.
Hi.
And we will be talking about brujeria. Yes, girl. It is going to be
crazy.
One sick interview with her because I've been wanting to do this.
Yes.
I've been wanting to do an interview about brujeria, and I've wanted to do it right and give it some justice. So the amazing bruja of choice that we decided to reach out to was Brujas Botanica.
Hi,
Christy. So we are going to be sitting down with Christy where we're going to be discussing everything and anything about brujeria, the misconceptions, the truth about it, the practice, how it differs from one country to the next. Sure. And she is such a sweet person, and I'm so excited to meet her. And her and I have been communicating and coordinating it. So she also has her own business, guys, and we highly recommend that you go and find her under Brujas Botanica on Instagram.
Support local business.
Yes, support homegirls, man. One spell at a time. This company is Latina owned. She's from Compton, California.
Oh my God, I'm so here for this.
She has a spiritual online store, and she also does personal readings. And all of her stuff I want. I have to sit down this weekend today and go over the things that I'm going to buy from her store. But amazing. You need to follow her Instagram. It is amazing. I can't spend any more money, but I will. Here we are.
Story of my life, girl. I'm like, I'm not spending any more money. And then
$150 later.
Every time.
Walking out of Target. Here we are.
Girl, don't even get me started. I know. Talk about a fucking ghost. Target haunts me night and day. I astral project right to that self-checkout. It's brutal. Ugh. And they put the crop tops right next to it. I'm like, yeah, I do need that. I
had this lucid
horrifying.
dream that I walked out of there with 2 more like glass vases from their houseware.
It's really fucking annoying.
I know.
Target sees me coming, going, spinning, living. It's great.
Target's not the ninth circle.
Oh,
hi Mia.
Hi, Mia.
That was Mia.
That's our key.
I know
That's
that's our
our
key.
cue.
Like, hey bitches, give me a treat. Take me out for a walk.
it's been too long.
It's been too long indeed. All right, guys. So, hello.
All right, the world is telling us to end this episode.
Like
yes.
ended right now. The world's going to come to an end. All right, guys. So much love. Stay tuned. We'll put out the Brujeria episode in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be flying out of town for a family emergency. Everything's fine, but don't worry. We will definitely deliver some fresh episodes. All right, guys. Always remember to stay Holly weird. Bryce, do you have anything else you want to say?
Bye.
Bye. Oh, look, it's Vincent Price right behind you.
Oh my god.